Really? How about now? I think now should work.
Now, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there it is. All right. I think I hit the wrong button again because I have a damn party going upstairs in the house. So look, with that said, let's knock it around
I'm not going
and
to repeat
let's
that whole thing again. All
no
I'll
no
say is
let's
this was a lot of movies, and it was really tough to get through all of them, but we did it, and we're ready to go.
let's do
That's what I said.
we went through the wormhole. Boom. All right. Welcome everyone to a brand new episode, and today we're going to be discussing 13 film Star Trek franchise ranking. I'm your host Ash Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, so now I will say this because I'll speak for both of us. This is one of the most daunting watch throughs I think I ever did. I'm going to be honest. I love Star Trek. Out of the two of us, I'm the biggest Star Trek fan. I have the jackets, I have the movies, I have the collectibles, I have all that stuff. But I got to say, winding up to this live stream was really hard because I had to take care of the kids. The kids are in school. So it was like hard to pinpoint when I could watch these damn movies. And when I watch one movie, if it's 2 hours, this puppy is getting stretched to a 4 hour because, Daddy, I need you to do this. And I'm like, oh my God. While doing videos, I have to edit for our videos for each week to put out 4K reviews. So it was hard. It was really daunting. I agree with you on this. It's really hard, but we'll have fun with it. What like I said, we'll the more we keep doing this, the easier it will get. I guess it will say. But with that said, Nate,
I was going to say real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
This franchise, you touched on it. Just for everybody watching or watching the replay, whoever's here. I see Corey's here, Jerry's
Hey, how you
here. What's
doing?
up, guys? And as people trickle in, the Star Trek franchise. I know I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. Okay, there's an accident. I didn't even realize I was doing that till I sat down. But the Star Trek franchise is not. I would not say it is a favorite franchise of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Alex is by far the bigger Star Trek fan. I have seen exactly 0 episodes of any of the shows, except I've seen a few Next Generation when I was a kid because my dad used to watch it. Other than that, I've not seen the original series. I've not seen the Deep Space Nine and the
Voyager,
Voyager,
Enterprise.
none of them. So I'm not an expert. So I do think this will be fun because you are very well versed in the shows
Yeah.
and the movies. I'm literally just a movie watcher. So I think, it's going to be interesting talking about these movies with a diehard fan versus, I wouldn't even say I'm a casual fan. Like, I've literally only seen these movies. So
just a film from a film goer's point of view versus someone that has the verse of the infinite universe. Yeah, I totally get it.
It's gonna be fun too. You're gonna get both sides of the coin.
You know what I should do? I have not opened this yet. I have a Star Trek jacket from the Strange New Worlds that I have not opened from season 3, I believe. I have not opened. You know what? I'm gonna open it right now.
If it's not too warm, throw that baby on.
Yeah, let's do this.
Yes. So anyway, while he's doing that, I think it's gonna be interesting for people to get both perspective, especially if you're like I said, if you're a diehard fan. Alex has a little more knowledge than me. If you're very, very, very casual like me, then I'm your guy. There he is. There you go.
That's my dance. That's my. Ooh.
Let's see. Evan is here. What's up, Evan? He said, I didn't make it through them all. I tried, but I ran out of time.
It's all right. It's all right, baby. All right. So in this package right here, it's a Star Trek jacket. Bro, I was supposed to do a unboxing of this like years ago for the channel, but I haven't done it. I'm going to do it right now because it's the perfect time. So let's open it up. So this is from one of my favorite online stores called Hero Within. Me and you walked on it in Comic-Con. Oh, okay. Where my wife told you we got to go the other aisle because if I saw it, I was going to buy a jacket. Well, that's them. Right? Yeah, this is from Hero Within. So this is the Klingon War jacket. Ooh. I went straight badass. That's So this is an extra large. And this is a Klingon jacket, which I love my Klingons. I mean, I know my Romulans, they're cool, but I love my bad guys. Sometimes you gotta rock some bad guys, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, ooh, look at, ooh, it's black. Look at this, Nate. Look at the Star Trek right there, brother. Look at that. It's legit.
Pretty
look
sweet.
at this. Look at the insignia.
Oh
Right
yeah,
there.
look. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no,
the Star
nice
Trek
little
insignia,
detail
bro.
on it, yeah.
This is what I call. I mean, look at the inside, bro. You guys got to check this out. I mean, I am. Look at
Ooh,
that
property
property of. So this is what the Starfleet uses, but this was during the war in the show when they got to beam down. This is what they rocked. Let's put this to the side and see Papa out. All right, here we go. Ooh. All right. Oh, brother, this jacket. Oh, this is sweet. This is a sweet jacket,
it.
bro.
Yep.
Well, first of all, this is too hot to rock right now, but this is a dope jacket. This is really dope. For those of you out there, I say recommend it. It's like $100, but it's a replica of the jacket from the TV show. So whatever they wear, so I have two. I have the Commander's jacket from season 1 that they wear gray when they go into land, and this is from part 3. And I wanted a black with the insignia. Oh, this is pretty cool. So anyway,
Bin Buster's here. What's up, Bin?
Hey, what's up, Ben? But anyway,
He's a Star Trek guy.
Yeah, he is a big Star Trek guy. But yeah, this is the jacket from Strange New World, one of my favorite seasons. But yeah, there you have it. Put this in the back. But anyway, oh look, and then I got my my phaser. This is set to kill, and then I got the whoop to stun. So this is from the J.J. Abrams movies, because the original phasers don't do that, but this is the one that flips when
They look like electric shavers.
But anyway, all right. With that said, let's have some fun.
All right.
Let's do some box office numbers. Now I'm gonna read them off. This is the view you're gonna get today, because it'll be easier to go through everything. So I'll just read them off for you guys. All right, box office numbers. Let's get to some box office Star Trek numbers. Starting from the first movie from 1979. Okay, this movie came out December 7th, 1979. Me and Nate was not even born when this movie came out. Star Trek the motion picture budget was $35 million. Came out to a worldwide $139 million at the box office. Worldwide. That's not
good,
bad.
especially in 1979 money.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to go up and you tell me yes or no, whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Move it along because it's 13 movies.
Yeah.
1982. I wasn't even born yet.
Nope.
But The Wrath of King Kong came out. The Wrath of Khan came out. This movie budgeted at $12 million. All right. Worldwide box office of $95.8 million. 80s money.
Good. Okay. Weird that it made less than the first one, but still very good because it made like, 7 times the budget. So,
right.
Yep. Big success.
Big success, right?
Mm-hmm.
1984, 2 years later, The Search for Spock, Star Trek 3, came out. 1984, $18 million at a budget, at a worldwide of $87 million.
All right, so now we're still making money, but less because the budget went up and your box office went down.
Yes.
But still making money.
Exactly. Well, part 4 came out, The Voyage Home from 1986. Okay? $24 million budget. We're going up on the budget. And it made $133 million at the worldwide box office.
Yes, I remember this one. I don't remember. I wasn't there. But I remember when hearing about it that this one was like a big hit for the franchise financially.
Yep.
So, yeah, pretty good. Okay, we're that's about 5 times the budget, so we're doing pretty good still.
So far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Part 5, The Final Frontier, 1989. A budget of $30 million. They bumped that sucker up. Mm-hmm. And I have a theory. I'm thinking technology is starting to get better in terms of that time. The technology to do what certain things, I guess, is starting to get better. More, but it's costing more. Okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, like I said, part 5, Final Frontier, $30 million came up to $70.2 million.
Not great.
Not great. Dropped. Big time.
Yeah.
1991. This is your era. 90s.
I'm alive now.
You're alive. Nate is watching Turtles.
I'm watching
Eating
Ninja
Secret of the
Turtles. I'm
Ooze,
watching
apple pies.
X-Men. I'm eating Apple Jacks. Loving it.
Star Trek 6, the undiscovered country,
Okay.
$27 million budget. They dropped it
Okay.
down by 3. Made $96.9 million.
Oh, okay. Better. Yep. Better
Better.
than the last movie. Yep.
All right. Well, that's the end of the original Star Trek.
Okay.
Were you shocked any of these? And you guys too at home, if you're live with us right now, let us know what do you think of the first 6 movies. Do you see any shockers there in terms of the box office numbers or
Yeah,
budget
and
wise?
Harrison's here now. What's up, Harrison? And Tony's here now. What's up, Tony? Okay. So, yeah, I'm surprised that the Wrath of Khan was not
Hi.
higher, knowing the popularity of it. I'm surprised it wasn't more. Other than that, I can't say I'm too surprised. No, I think they, especially having seen them. I mean, none of them lost money, so
Right.
that's a plus. But I'm surprised that one wasn't higher than it was.
Okay.
It
I
like
was a little
4th
shocked.
out of 6 or something.
Yeah,
like
I was a little shocked because I agree with you. Wrath of Khan, when you look at like the 80s, I always like everyone talks about Wrath of Khan like is the biggest movie, like at that time that was like a big movie. Like people were like, oh, Spock died at the same time, so it's like, oh. But you're right, I was kind of shocked. But anyway, now we're entering the next generation for film franchise. Okay, 1994. Star Trek Generations, when they unite Captain Kirk and Captain Picard, right? $38 million. Came out to a budget of 120. Worldwide total of 120 million and made.
Okay, so a little over 3 times the budget. I mean, that's still
Yeah.
a success. 120. I mean, yeah, over. Remember too in the 90s, like if you hit 100 million on your movie,
Yeah.
and most of them didn't cost that much to make back then. You're doing pretty well. Those were like considered blockbusters back then.
Okay. Well, guess what? The next movie came out 2 years later, 96.
Okay.
The time of Independence Day.
I
right?
remember this one as a kid.
The First Contact.
Because it came out the same time as Scream.
Yes.
Yeah.
$46 million budget.
Okay.
Worldwide total of $150 million.
Okay. I mean,
Right?
doing good. Yep, I remember that was a big one.
And this one was filmed by Jonathan Frakes, who plays number 1 in the show.
Jonathan Frankfurter.
Frankfurter. Flakes? Is it Flakes or
Frakes?
Frakes?
Yes.
I always think of like cornflakes. So I'd be calling him Jonathan Flakes. Yeah. All right. Well, guess what? 2 years later, they were like, wow, this is kind of success. They came out with Insurrection. $70 million budget. Worldwide total of $117.8 million.
Not great.
Yeah, that's a big drop off.
Not great. I mean, your budget doubled and your box office went down. Only made about 40 million. I mean, with marketing, times were different back then.
Yep.
So this probably wasn't a financial failure, but nowhere near the profits of the first bunch of movies.
Nope. And Jonathan Frakes didn't return to helm either. He did not come back.
Oh.
So it was like another director. Now this one, Star Trek Nemesis, the final of the 4, right?
Yep.
2002.
Yep.
$60 million budget.
Okay, so it costs
Now,
less than Insurrection.
Less than Insurrection. And is starting, right? The whole cast is back, plus a young Tom Harding playing a young Jean-Luc Picard, right? So it's 60. With a worldwide budget of $67.3 million. A flop.
A flop. The first and the only, I would say
Yes.
the only flop in the franchise.
Yeah. When I look at these numbers, that's the only lowest one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a flop. But it was a 7-year hiatus for Star Trek to go on screen.
Yep.
And J.J. Abrams went, give me that bitch. I'm going to make this thing good. Right? So he said, I'm going to make this good.
He rebooted the movies without using the TV, did not base it on because all the other movies were based on a show.
Right.
Like, you had the group from the original Star Trek in the first 6.
Yep.
Then you had the cast from The Next Generation. This was the first time where they cast, none of these actors were on any Star Trek show. I mean, not counting Leonard Nimoy, but
Right.
you know what I mean? So this was like a film-only reboot. of Star Trek, which was interesting.
Right. So they soft reboot the entire universe. And was it successful? We're going to find out. 2009, Star Trek. Everyone went crazy because they're like, wow, this is a young cast. Could it work? $140 million budget. Because we're about during new CGI.
Yeah.
Everything looked good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Box office number $386.8 million.
Fantastic.
Plus
Fantastic.
4Ks and Blu-rays and all days and whatever. Success. Right. That's what I smell.
That's a huge hit. By far the and okay, budget to box office. Some of the other ones had better, but I mean total money. This is the highest out of all the ones you said. Nothing even hit 200 million before that.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
But guess what? Because of that success, they waited till 2013 to do another Star Trek Into Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
$190 million budget.
Jeez.
But it made a worldwide total of $467.3 million at the box office.
Oh, monster.
Another success.
Yeah, good. Another success and almost 500, almost $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the franchise is thriving at this point in 2013.
Yeah. And now this took even longer to come out. So the last one was 2016. Mm-hmm. Star Trek Beyond was 2016. I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 years later. Sorry.
3 years. Okay.
3 years later. I'm looking at the wrong number here. 3 years later, Star Trek Beyond. There tons of production problems. I remember they a lot of writing issues and
didn't Simon Pegg? They were like he was the writer, and then there was the other guy, the producers, and there was a whole thing.
Yeah, this whole thing is going on, right?
Yes.
The budget went to $185 million.
Okay.
When it came out, worldwide total $335.6 million at the box office.
I mean,
it's success.
It was not a failure.
Right.
But obviously they never made another one after this. So I think Paramount maybe not have been happy. There's a lot of going on in the chat real quick. Some interesting stuff. Evan says, I think part 5 and part 6 were the first movies to have used Pixar computers to make some of the special effects. Harrison says he thinks that E.T. overshadowed Wrath of Khan was a big reason why it maybe made less money. Ben says, it's just like Frakes. That's how I remember it. Buster said they should have ended it with Insurrection. That's an interesting. You're not gonna like this live stream if that's how he feels about the franchise, but we'll see how we go from there. Harrison says he thinks Evan is correct. Jay is here. What's up, Jay? Evan says I think JJ was inviting to new fans. The older films made you think. I haven't seen the show, so why would I go see this movie? JJ welcomed more people to come to the theater, and I actually agree with that sentiment from Evan.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
Now,
we'll get to it when we talk about that movie, but I agree with him.
Total box office for all 13 films in this franchise, bro, $2.2 billion. From 1979 to the last film, 2024. It grows $2.2 billion. So, I mean, to me, that's successful. So
yeah, and if you match it against the budgets, I'm sure it's very good. Because especially some of them early ones that had like, you said like $12 million.
And 18, yeah.
So, I mean, Star Trek is a worldwide, I won't call it a phenomenon, but is a very popular franchise. Yeah. Between TV shows and games and toys and Legos and movies. So not surprising that it's successful, and only, to have a 13 movie franchise where only one is like an all out flop. That's pretty darn good.
It's pretty good, and depending on your see, Star Trek has a weird taste, bro. Some people might like the good ones. Some people might hate some people might hate the good ones. Some people love the bad ones. Some people love all of them. So, like, to me, it's like it's so up to your taste buds when it comes to Star Trek. Like, what you like. You can like Enterprise. You can love Voyager. You can love Deep Space Nine. You can hate Strange New Worlds. You can hate Discovery. I mean, there's so much Star Trek in the universe with so many shows, but with the movies, it's the same way. Like, I mean, there's 4 Next Generations,
Yep.
6 OG Star
Mhm.
Trek, with the reboot 3 of all these of the original guys, but younger, following them in another timeline that doesn't connect to them, right? So, like, which we're gonna talk about while doing this show, but it's very interesting. It's a very interesting stuff. It's very interesting. But we're gonna talk about it because, yeah, 2.2
Yeah.
billion. So I'm happy about that. So let's get into it because I know you want to do your ranks. So let's get into this ranking system. All right. So let's go to the first movie.
Yeah.
All right. So you call up all right. So number 13, and whatever number 13 is, I'll pull up what the movie's about, and we'll give it our ratings, and we'll
Oh,
talk
you want to
about
do
it.
you want to do the ranking and talk about them as we go through them? That's an interesting
Yes,
way to do it.
it's
Okay.
the
Okay.
best
Well,
way
let's
to
change it
do
up a
it.
little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it
So
that
this,
way.
if you guys are watching, well, everyone who is watching, this won't be the normal, but because this is kind of a Alex had a party, it's Memorial Day. We're gonna
Yeah,
try this out.
yeah.
Normally we go through in order and then do the ranking. Here, we're gonna do the ranking and review them as we go. So this is cumulative. So if you guys remember when Bin Buster was on doing Oceans, I combined his ranking, my ranking, and Alex's ranking for a Geeks and Flix ranking. In this case, it's just me and Alex. So we're going to do the same thing. Alex sent me his. I know mine. I combined them. I assigned the points based on, where we ranked them. And our ranking combined, and I will let you know what I had, what he had, and then, but the Geeks and Flix, the number 13 movie in the Star Trek franchise with a massive 3 points combined. Number 13 is Star Trek, the motion picture, the original film. I know Harrison's going to get mad because I'm pretty sure he loves this movie.
Right.
But for us, it is actually the lowest ranked. You had it at number 13. So it actually fell right where you ranked it. I had it at number 12. So we 12 and 13th equals 13th overall.
All right. So the way I'm gonna do this, because like I said, I had a I had a party today, so I'm gonna try to do this in a way. Let's see if I could do it this way. Right. Let's see if it's easier. I'm gonna get the logo, and then I'm gonna try to pull it up live. So I'm gonna see if I can do this shit live. So okay.
All right. Bin Buster says Trek is welcoming to all fans. There's something for everyone. And here go. I knew it. Harrison says, "Boo!" My favorite one. And then Evan comes in right behind and says, "Thank you, God. That that movie was tough. I just watched this month, and it took me 4 times to watch it. I needed to take breaks." And he watched the director's cut. We also watched the director's cut.
Yes, we did. And okay, so
this is
let's
my first
do it
time watching that.
this way. Okay, so how am I gonna do? Okay,
I have notes for this one. I
Let's
have notes for
pull you
10 of
in.
them.
I'm gonna pull you in right now because I didn't set this up because I didn't know we were gonna. I didn't know I was gonna be this creative and do this shit live. So
I didn't know it was gonna be this creative.
I didn't know it was gonna be. Okay, so I'm gonna again. This is what happens when you watch us live. I might do some weird shit live, so bear with me here. All right. Let's do it this way. Okay, motion picture. Boop. I hope you guys see this. Let's see.
I just see a black box. Oh,
all right.
There we go. Right
All right, so there you have it. So Star Trek motion picture. Now, this movie's about, and I gotta do this the same time. Damn, I have octopus arms by tonight. Okay. This movie, Nate, is when an alien spacecraft of enormous power is spotted approaching Earth. Admiral James T. Kirk resumes command of the overhauled USS Enterprise in order to intercept it.
Okay.
All right. So what you got?
Okay. Before we talk about Jay, wow, I would have hoped Star Trek the Motion Picture ranked higher. You guys, Ben, Jay, if Corey, if you're still here, Tony, if you've watched these, put in the chat your number 13 if you have a ranking, and then I'll read those as two. Okay. Here's what I got for this one. I put some. I'm just gonna read these notes real quick, and then you go. So I said this movie has a cool poster. I like the poster for the movie. A great Jerry Goldsmith score, which I'll stand by. I think the music is fantastic.
Okay.
Solid cast. and some really good for the time visual effects. I still think it looks for a late 70s movie. The effects are good. I said it's also pretty boring and very uninteresting as far as the story goes. There is literally a 5-minute dialogue-free scene of Captain Kirk looking at the ship from a little space pod. That happens. He's rolling in a pod, and they're just looking at the Enterprise, and it's like 5 minutes long. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my! And it keeps cutting. Like it cuts back to him looking at it, and then it cuts back to the ship. And it cuts back to him looking at it, and it keeps going and going and going. Also, I said it seems like they're more interested in showing how the classic TV show would look as a feature film rather than making a great movie. To me, it felt like a big, huge budget episode of the show that was 2 hours rather than a truly interesting Star Trek movie. Like, I was bored. Most of the time, I was bored. It's pretty long. V'ger. And I'm like, oh my God, V'ger. And it turns out it's like a satellite dish. And like, I don't know. I think the resolutions I didn't really like. So yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 10. I did not like it that much.
I did not like this movie. I agree with Evan. It was boring. It was, dude, I was so bored, Nate. I was literally going, what the hell? And this was the director's cut I was watching. The newly restored in digital 4K, right? And I'm like, first of all, it didn't look as good in 4K, but I was like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I agree. I love the score, which remember we were talking. It's funny because us in the Patreon,
yeah,
we were laughing because I was like, bro, I don't even remember Star Trek the original having the Next Generation theme song. Like, remember we were all laughing?
Yeah.
And you kept pushing my buttons going, well, you're not a true fan. So we kept laughing. But yeah, and I didn't remember that. Like, I was just like, holy crap. And they used it once because then 2, 3, whatever, they changed it until the last one. I think they used it again. But
yeah,
I agree. Jerry Goldstein's score was amazing in this movie. I agree. And the V'ger thing was so annoying. The power of this entire thing was so dumb.
It was
Captain Kirk resuming the Enterprise felt so like they did not know how to do it, and it felt so rushed. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna commandeer and follow you and do this, but I'll control the ship at the same time."
And there's so many scenes of him just so many drawn out scenes of them like looking at stuff.
Oh
no
yeah,
talking, just looking at stuff.
I hated this scene so bad. And I'm a big fan of the show.
Yeah.
I hated when Scotty picked him up and they went around the whole fucking ship. And they're looking from the whole thing, and they're just looking, and it's like,
that's the part I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I hated that part. It's one of the worst. Like, I get it because the USS Enterprise is part of the crew. Like, that is his ship. That version, because remember, Next Generation, they have their own version of the Enterprise, but this is the iconic one that started it, and I get it. They wanted to do this in the grand entrance, but brother, this thing was long. It was like 30 minutes in, and he's still in that ugly ass pod trying to get, what was it called, the Galileo or whatever it was, and he's getting it was so bad.
Like, the music is good at that part, but see, that's to my point of like, it seemed like they just wanted to show, look. You're at a movie theater and we can make the Enterprise look like better than you've ever seen. So they showed us for 10 minutes of it just floating around like, oh, please get on it already and talk. Also, the dad from Seventh Heaven is in this. And the mom from Seventh Heaven is in the fourth one. So that was kind of weird. I was like, what the heck is going on?
And the other part that was like, I did enjoy certain aspects. I love the part with Spock. When he comes in and Chekhov was like, wow. And then he just blows by him. He goes into the bridge and then Captain Kirk is like, Spock. And everyone's happy to see him. Yeah. And he just literally like blew them all off because he was doing the Kamatra, whatever the hell it is from Vulcan. One of the like their
when he has to do that the trials or whatever.
Yeah, the Kamatra, something like that. I forgot what it's called, but it was like starts with a K.
Kama Sutra.
The Kama Sutra shit like that. Kama Sutra.
Kama Sutra is like a sex book, I think.
I bet. It's like a sexy thing. But yeah, like the Calamar. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Kalimar.
Kalimar.
Yeah, he was doing the the
Isn't that
thing
what the
from
guy
Temple of
yells
Doom.
when in the Temple of Doom?
Kalimar. Kalimar Shatide.
Oh my god.
Honestly, you gave it a 4 out of 5.
4 out of 10.
Oh no, hell no! This movie's a 1 out of 10.
Wow.
I did not like this movie at all. This is the worst one. I'm
I
on
tried
my
to give it.
rankings, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you had it last. I had it second to last.
Yeah, I had this joint last. Yeah, this was the one. This was boring. I can't come back and watch this movie ever again. It's just boring.
I will never
Like,
watch it again.
yeah.
There's
For
no reason.
4 out of 10,
I'm
Jeez.
surprised. Yeah, and well, I tried to give it points for things. So like I
Yeah.
said, good score, good effect. Like there's good things about it. It's just the story's so boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. As far as the chat, Binbusters number 13 is the final frontier.
Mm.
Harrison says it's most like the OG series, very similar storyline to the pilot with Kirk called Where No Man Has Gone Before. Harrison's number 13th is Final Frontier as well. He says it's a whack movie. Jay's number 13 is Star Trek Beyond.
Really?
So he didn't like that one.
Wow.
So Jay's gonna have a cool list already. I could tell because that's interesting.
I hope he has a piece of paper to keep keep in mind where he's at.
Yeah.
All right. So wow, that's really interesting. And
Yeah.
have you ever seen that one where No Man Has Gone Before, the first Star Trek?
I've never seen any episodes of the old show.
So that one, I mean, Harrison could I'm sorry, Evan or whoever said that.
Harrison.
Yeah, Harrison could remind me, but I think that's the one that does not have Captain Kirk. That's the one with Christopher Pike, running the Enterprise. And it's with Spock and Christopher Pike's adventure. Until James T. Kirk takes over. I believe that's that one, but that was a good one too. Very slow.
And that's the other
That's pretty
thing.
good.
Someone made it the thing to Evan's point. Like,
Yeah.
if you're like me and you've never ever seen the old show,
Mhm.
this movie doesn't give you anything.
No.
As far as characters, like if you don't know them, you still don't know them. But at the end of this, like I don't know their history. I don't know their backstory. I don't know anything. I know is secondhand knowledge from like just kind of being aware of pop culture.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Harrison said that one's called The Menagerie.
The Menagerie.
Yeah.
This one with the aliens with the big ass heads. They're like, "Ooh."
Binbuster said they're called tribbles, I guess. Y'all
Tribbles are the little furry things.
Y'all are saying
in the
things I
episodes.
don't know. So
Yeah,
all
don't
I know
worry
is
about it.
this movie's boring.
Yeah, it's a horrible movie. All right, so what's number 12?
Okay, so our group ranking, number 12, beating this movie by 1 point with a total of 4.
Oh boy.
Star Trek Generations is the number
Alright.
12. But you had this ranked as number 11. I actually had this ranked dead last at number 13.
All right, so it was what was it again?
Generations
Generation
is number 12.
All right, I gotta pull up. All right,
Okay.
okay, you talk about it.
All right. So again, I'll go to my notes. Again, this one feels more like a really long TV episode than a film. I'm not gonna lie. The direction in this is not, and this doesn't apply to all of them, but a number of them. These are not super cinematic movies, in my opinion. This one especially feels like an episode of The Next Generation that is like a little bit more expensive. So, I said there's some humor because Data gets this motion chip thing, but most of it actually ends up not being that funny. So like
Yeah.
they try to be funny, but it's not. It's actually not that funny. Let's see. There's a little bit of action in here, but it's not really anything special. Also, boring. There's another one that's similar to the original. I was bored through most of it. It's not very thrilling. It's not very exciting. I was pretty much bored. The main storyline takes a little while to get going. And then once it does, it's not really that interesting, right? Like it's got this guy, Malcolm McDowell, who's a great actor. And he's like trying to get this, the Nexus or whatever. I mean, that's pretty much it. And then like Captain Kirk is in there. So they meet. That's why it's called Generations. Spock and Captain Picante meet up and they get to be Jean-Luc Picante and they get to meet each other. Also, I feel like the music in this one sucks. A horrible score. The other ones had like Goldsmith and James Horner. This one, garbage, unmemorable. Cast is fine. I didn't 4 out of 10 as well for this one for me.
All right, so this one, for those of you out there wondering what the hell are we talking about, The movie on this one is set 100 years after Captain Kirk's 5-year mission. A new generation of Starfleet officers set off in the USS Enterprise D on its own mission to go where no man has gone before.
Every time.
Every time I
Also,
do with the D voice. Yeah.
Enterprise, dude, they be blowing that thing up so many
Oh,
times. There's like,
jeez.
what letter are they up to? I don't know.
D.
I mean, no, now, I mean, it still exists because they're in
Oh.
E in the later movies than this one. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but okay. My thing with I hated Generations, and the only reason why I had it at number on my list, number 11, is because the other one I hated even more. But this one, I hated this movie. One, they killed Captain Kurt off horrible in this movie. Spoiler alert. Horrible. And that was because they forced his ass to do the movie because they said if he doesn't do it, they were going to kill him off screen. That is really douchey of Paramount to do to this beloved captain. But anyway, I did not like this movie at all. I thought I agree, it was very boring. The beginning with Captain Kurt on the Enterprise, and he was like, oh, you could take it over. And he was like, no, you could take over. And I was like, bro, someone take this shit over already. Oh, I take it over. Like, I just felt like the storyline was blah. Data, I thought Data's thing was kind of funny. Like the way they did his chip, like his because that comes later down the road in terms of story. Yeah, it comes down to like the next movie, First Contact, takes advantage of that with the Borg and everything. Yeah. But I just felt like I don't know, with the Next Generation crew. I agree, they're more television stars, which rightfully so. I'm okay with it, but I don't know. This movie is just very boring. Yeah. It was very boring. I hated Captain Kurt was cool, but Jean-Luc Picard yelling at Captain Kurt saying that it's his duty to do this. I'm like, brother, you don't know what the shit this guy had to go through. Like, why are you yelling at my man JT Kirk? Like, he's a better captain than you anyway. Like, I personally think James T. Kirk is the best captain in Picard. All of them. Picard is more diplomatic.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah, he's cool. He likes to talk. But my man James T. Kirk gets his fist dirty.
Something like this. I want to climb this mountain.
Yeah, but I mean, like when he went to fight, he was like, I got this. He was hitting the dudes with judo chop. He's like,
I will say, as far as killing him off, I mean, I'm okay. Well, again, I'm not attached to him because all I've seen is these movies. However, right. I agree with you. I think the behind the scenes is kind of trashy the way they did it. However, story-wise, it makes sense because, I mean, at this point, he was like 150 years in the future anyway. Right. So, like, rather than having him be alive and his whole crew been dead for 85 years, killing him's fine. But, yeah, the how they got there, kind of dirty.
Yeah, it was kind of dirty. But then at the end of everything, it was just like like, they didn't even praise the freaking dude. Like, he was like, they died, and that's it. Captain Picard went to his ship, and they didn't even talk about James T. Kirk no more. He didn't even tell his crew he met the legendary James Kirk. Like, he didn't tell number one. He didn't tell Troy, like, or Data. Like, I just felt like it was so stupid. Like, I hated this movie. And I agree with you. Generations does have great storylines that are great message for people. Whereas I felt like the OG Star Trek was more exploration of aliens and new civilizations and all that stuff. I get it, but this movie does stink. And I gave this one, I gave it a 3 out of a 10.
So we're close.
Yeah, we're close on that one.
Okay, to the chat. Let's see, J-Man. That was Scott's here. What's up, Scott? Jay's number 12 is the Final Frontier. So he's like with Harrison and Evan. That was their 13. Bin Buster's number 12 is the Undiscovered Country. Interesting. Scott says, sorry, boys, forgot it was Sunday. No worries, Scott. Welcome. Robert's here. Sorry I'm late. Welcome, Robert. Harrison's number 12, Insurrection. I didn't need a Botox allegory and a planet set up like Venice, Italy. Horrible film. Feels like a TV. This one feels like a TV movie, Harrison.
Harrison's taste is so weird.
I love Harrison's takes.
Yeah, he's a weird.
It's interesting. Kirk spent years as a captain on the bridge. His life ends with the bridge on the captain. I see what you did there. Very funny. Scott says, whichever Star Trek movie they save the whales in whichever movie they save the whales in, The makers must have been smoking weed while filming, probably. And then
Mm.
Jay says James T. Kirk is the GOAT of captains in the Star Trek universe. So he agrees with you.
Yeah.
That's his favorite. I just think I don't really care for William Shatner's acting. I think he's a cornball, but
Oh
I
no
mean,
no no! I don't mean. Well,
it's
I mean, yeah,
bad.
his acting's not good,
Patrick
but if
Stewart is better, and so I end up liking his character better.
if you if you think that I'm just thinking of their characteristics.
Yeah, of course.
I think James T. Kirk he's way better. He's more.
I also didn't watch the show, so
Yeah,
I don't have
he's
that.
more like hands on. He'll freaking fight if he has to fight. Like
Yeah.
this dude is mad diplomatic. Number one.
Remember this one? They're like start off on the boat. He's like, walk the plank. I'm like, what am I watching?
Yeah, on the
this movie
holodeck.
This movie
Yeah.
stinks. And Data's always like he's like the main character in
Everything.
3 out of the 4 movie, 4 out of the 4 almost.
Mhm.
He's the only one besides Picard that gets like storylines.
Yeah.
Honestly, like everyone else is just sort of there, especially the ladies. They barely. I mean, the one in Nemesis gets to do some stuff, but like the doctor lady, she's just there hanging out.
Beverly Crusher.
Best name, Crusher. That's awesome, but she doesn't do much.
I mean,
We get
yeah.
weird looking yellow Data just constantly getting storyline. Whatever. Okay, let's move on.
I think the hottest one is Troy.
Yeah,
The
she's
mind
kinda bad.
reading.
I like her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
I
hot.
like her.
She's hot.
Mhm.
But Beverly
fan.
can get it too.
I like them both. What
All
about
right,
Whoopi
what's your
Goldberg?
number 11?
No, I'm just kidding. Okay, no, number 11. Okay, so this one has a combined 6 points between the
Oof.
two of us.
Mm.
And this would be Star Trek: The Search for Spock is the number 11. I believe that is the 5th one.
Part
No,
3.
the 3rd one. The 3rd
Yeah.
one. The Search for Spock. You had this ranked as number 12 out of 13.
Yes, I did.
I had this ranked as number 10 out of 13. So definitely in the bottom. All right, so let me go to my notes for The Search for Spock. What the heck did I think of this movie? This one. Okay, I wrote here, this one's slightly better than the first movie, but nowhere near as good as the second movie. At times, this feels like feels like a slightly bigger, longer TV episode rather than a full-fledged movie. The direction lacked the polish of the first movie, which that movie did have good direction, even though it was boring.
Right.
And the like sort of the energy and action of the second movie. This one, again, very slow paced. Like stuff's happening, but it's kind of slow paced. The music, James Horner did the score for this one, and it's pretty good. Pretty good. Not as good as the first, but pretty good. Performances are fine. I did not like Christopher Lloyd as the Klingon guy in this. Not because I don't like Christopher Lloyd, because I do. I just felt he was miscast as that villain. I think he could play a villain, but putting him in all that makeup and having him speak that wackadoo language.
Oh,
like,
Klingon?
yeah, it sounds like
There
okay.
you go. You're speaking Klingon,
I
brother.
probably said Christopher Lloyd sucks in this movie. In
No,
Klingon.
actually, you said Alex is the man. In Klingon.
Maybe. So yeah, I think it's like this one more mediocre than truly awful for me. So I gave this one a 5 out of 10.
All right, so when it comes to Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Now, this movie is about, for those of you out there, Admiral Kurt and his bridge crew risk their careers stealing the decommissioned USS Enterprise to return to the restricted Genesis planet to recover Spock's body. Now, along the way, Klingon is amongst us, the big Klingon of, you said it, Christopher Lloyd, which kills Captain Kirk's son David in the process, and that's why he has the hatred for Klingons. So, with that said, this movie was directed by Leonard Nimoy, which is Spock. He directed this movie and written by Gene Roddenberry. Oh, I hope I said his name. Roddenberry. Yeah, which is the creator of Star Trek. So, I agree. Certain things about this movie was boring as hell. Some things I did like that felt like an episode. I was like, oh, the whole Genesis thing, the planet is about to destroy itself and all that stuff. I kind of like that stuff. I thought it was pretty cool. And then it just started to just get wackadoodle throughout. And I was just like, oh, this is not good for a movie. I think Leonard Nimoy did an excellent job in the direction. I thought it was really good. It felt like a Star Trek. I agree. It felt like a Star Trek episode at best, but not a motion picture. I didn't get a motion picture storyline here. I wasn't engaged because I was invested with the events of part 2 of the Wrath of Khan.
Mhm.
And coming into this movie, I thought we were going to get a big grand story to bring back Spock, and we didn't. I just felt like it was kind of a lackluster story to bridge the two, if you get what I'm saying. I just
Yeah.
did not like the outcome of this movie to connect part 2. I thought it was going to be a big grand of a movie for a Star Trek fan to go to the theater and go, damn, this is the way they bring back Spock. But it was kind of weak and
He's like a
easy.
little kid.
Yeah.
He
And then
grows up really
and then
fast.
like every few minutes he gets bigger by the planet's infrastructure going crazy and everything. Like I just felt like that was lazy writing. That's just me. It's very safe and easy writing to get Spock. I think if they would have did this storyline now, modern, I think it would have been way better storytelling now than what it was before. But the cool thing is, and I'm going to give it kudos, is that they got the creator of Star Trek to write this movie. So with that said, I gave this movie a 4 out of a 10. I still don't like this movie as much. That's why it was my number 12 in the ranking, but I gave it a 4 out of a 10. That's just
Yeah, and I think the only thing that's kind of interesting about this movie is
Yeah.
it's essentially sorry, I'm trying to find a
It's all right.
notepad here. It's kind of like the middle part of a trilogy within the franchise.
Yeah.
Because like 2, 3, and 4 are like a little trilogy of movies that have their own like story arc from
Right.
Wrath of Khan to this one to the one with the whales, right? And then
Yep.
after that, it picks back up like not that those don't matter, but it's not like correlated as much. So
Right.
yeah, as the middle part of a trilogy within a franchise, I mean, I didn't love it. All right, let's see. Scott says he fell asleep during this one, so he didn't like it.
I don't blame him. There was some parts I was about to snore.
He did the search for sleep for
Yeah.
Scott. Ben has his number 11 is Generations, so he agrees with us kind of. That one's towards the bottom for him. Jay has the Undiscovered Lame, or the Undiscovered Country, if you would. Is his number 11. Now, Harrison gave me his whole thing, but I copied it to a notepad. So as we go on, I'll read. I'm not going to read them all now. His number 11 is Nemesis.
Okay.
So, Star Trek Nemesis.
All right.
All right. Our number 10. Moving
Number 10.
on. Speaking of, our number 10 with 9 points is Star Trek Nemesis.
Okay.
You had this ranked actually at number 8 out of 13. I had this ranked at number 11 out of 13. And so it ends up at number 10. Like I said, with 8 points total. Star Trek Nemesis. Okay, so I would say for this one, I like seeing Tom Hardy young. That was interesting. He's good. I mean, he's a great actor. So even kind of seeing an early role for him, and I do think he is good in this movie. So I liked that. This one has the most action out of all the Next Generation group of films. A lot. There's like a lot of action in this, and it's pretty well done. I think me and you talked about this movie way back when these first 4Ks first came out.
Yeah.
And I think I said the same thing, like rewatching, like this one has like a lot of action scenes going on, and they're pretty well done. Like I don't really, I mean, some of the effects aren't amazing now; they're dated, but like the action scenes were pretty solid. That being said, I didn't like the story for this one as much. You had he plays a clone of Captain Picard that the Romulans were going to basically insert him, like replace the real Captain Picard with him,
Yeah.
so that they can get their bidding done. Which I think is a weird plot because Captain Picard is the captain of a ship, but he's not like the head of Starfleet or whatever. You think they might pick one of those people, but whatever. And then he has this thing where he's like aging too fast because he's got to like age faster, so he's all sick and weird. And then you had Data, and then the fake Data. Again, Data is a super character. There's 2 of them, B4 and Data, and they named him B4. Haha, you get it? Like he's B4. Data. I don't know. It's a little silly. I think it's. I don't think it's like god awful, but again, similar to Search for Spock, mediocre. I just feel like this one for me was kind of mediocre. So I have this one a 5 out of 10 as well.
All right. So when it comes to Star Trek Nemesis, The plot line is the Enterprise is diverted to the Romulan homeworld Romulus, supposedly because they want to negotiate a peace treaty. Captain Picard and his crew discover a serious threat to the Federation once Predator Shinzo plans to attack Earth. That's Tom Harding's character, which is
Yes.
AKA Captain Picard. I agree. There's certain aspects of this movie I did enjoy. Again, it falls into kind of the boring category. I was a little bit like, oh, this is a little bit boring. But I did enjoy the ship going cloak, and they're doing a lot of the war on space. Like, I like the fighting. I always love this fighting with the ships on space. I love the cloak ship that he had. I like Captain Picard like crashing into it. I thought that was pretty cool. Data killing himself was pretty. I got emotional even watching it now. Still, I thought it was a pretty emotional scene because after you watch like 7 seasons of The Next Generation, they were so close, and then watching this, you're like, oh damn, it's kind of crazy. He sacrificed himself, but then he had the bad guy version of him, which is Lore or something like that. I don't know. I totally forgot how they brought him back into the show, but I think they used that thing and put all his memories back, and Data's back.
Right.
Like, so other than that, like, I like Tom Harding. He was pretty good. I don't know. I'm so tired of this whole cloning shit, and then it's super fast age getting, like his age getting up there quick. Because it was the same storyline as Search for Spock, but it was totally different. So I was just kind of blah with it. Troy looked really hot in this movie for some reason. I thought she was really
Oh, and that
gorgeous.
weird sex scene where there's like candles lit. They
Yeah.
start like making her like TV making her doing like this, and then all of a sudden it's Tom Hardy, and I'm like, what? That guy's like holding his brain, like you have
Yeah.
connected with her or whatever.
Well, the thing is, the reason why is because at the time she was so attractive, they had to put like a sexy scene of her in the
They're
show.
like,
So
hey, man, the guys out here really want to see.
the
going
nerds
on
need
with
to
you.
see some skin.
The nerds want some boobies. Get it on. PG-13 though. PG-13.
Yeah,
No nudity.
we just got to show her shoulders.
Right.
So
want.
and some bubbles. So yeah, I mean, other than that, I agree. I give it a 5 out of 10 too. I agree with you on that score. I enjoyed this. It was pretty okay, but I gave it like I said, I put it number 8.
But knowing you love action movies, it makes sense. This one's kind of the most action driven, which might be why
is.
some people don't like it that much, and I could see that.
Yeah, like it. Yeah, I agree. All right.
Okay, number 10 for Jay was Generations. So he didn't like that one that much either.
Oh.
All right, moving on up. Number 9 for us. This was interesting. I was a little surprised, but I guess I shouldn't say I was that surprised. We'll see. Number 9 with a total of 10 points is Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, which was a big success for this franchise. You had this movie ranked at number 10. I had this movie ranked at number 8. And it ended up here at number 9. So right in the middle of where where you had it and where I had it.
All right.
Well, everybody's leaving and dropping their list, so I'm gonna have to like read these like later because I'm not going to do a big block of them. Have a good night, Ben.
All right, Ben.
Watch the replay. Okay. Okay. His number 10, by the way, was Search for Spock.
Okay.
All right. Now, yes, Star Trek for The Voyage Home. This is the one Scott was talking about earlier with the freaking whales. Okay. My notes for this one. I got the third part of a story arc that began with Star Trek 2. This one takes kind of a big left turn. The crew travels back in time, right? Back in time for them to 1986. And this, of course, kind of leads to that fish out of water type comedy because they're from the future. They're dressed kind of weird. They don't really know like the modern customs. So you get some of the humor there. I did say it's the funniest of those first early movies. I would say I do think the new ones are kind of fun. Like there's humor in the new ones as well. But this one's probably the funniest out of the Star Trek movies. I don't think they're very funny. I don't think these are very funny movies, but this one has some humor to it. I did say it's a little bit jarring because of that. But overall, fairly entertaining. The cast is really good together. I do like this one does something that another movie later does, Beyond, where you get these little groups, right? They like kind of are like you get Spock and Kirk together, you got Uhura and Chekhov together, you have Scotty and Bones. Does he goes with Bones, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like they're all doing like little groups doing different stuff. I kind of like that. Um, but let's see. I had a good time. Yeah, I had a decent time. I don't think it's amazing, obviously, because I didn't rank it super, super high. But I give this one a 6 out of 10. This is the first one for me that's like, over that 5 threshold where I could say, I liked it. I don't love it, but I liked it.
Yeah, so all right. So the plot of this movie was to save Earth from an alien probe. Sorry, from an alien probe. Admiral James T. Kirk and his fugitive crew go back in time to San Francisco in 1986 to retrieve the only beings who can communicate with it, which is humpback whales.
Which is weird.
Which is weird, but at the time of the 80s, they were killing a lot of hunchback whales with the whales, and they were killing them. And I know that was this big
Whaling?
story. Huh?
Yeah, like whaling.
Yeah, the whaling was very big in the 80s. I bet they're still now, but not as before, like in the 80s when they started doing it. This movie was directed by Leonard Nimoy, written by Gene Roddenberry and Leonard Nimoy. So you can see why it's heavy on it. So this was more of like an activist type movie. This movie to me was boring as hell too. I did not like it. Certain stuff was kind of funny. I did love. There was some funny moments here. Because I think Bones in this is mad funny in this movie, especially when Chekhov goes to the hospital and he going, "Oh, what are you doing, man? This is medieval time." he's like My wife loved that scene because she's into medical, so she was laughing during that part. He said, "What are you doing, man?" He was like, "Those tools." So, what are you, a medieval? And he's doing with the new stuff. I love the old lady who was dying from something, and he gave her 3 pills, and he said, "Take these, you will be well." And you see them when they're running out. She's like mad happy because she's cured from cancer.
Yeah. Or it's funny too when Scotty was like, he's like, use the computer, and he's talking into the mouse. He's like,
Yeah.
Computer. Go to the He's like, you gotta use the keyboard. He's like, oh my gosh, gotta use the keyboard. He just started going.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
that was
he's
funny.
like, and then he made up this new alloy, whatever, and he was like, you can make fortune. So like they altered time, but they had to. So like, again, certain things were fun and funny. I thought William Shatner was really funny too in certain things. But yeah, I agree with you. Star Trek is not always about fun, but I love the family dynamic, and I think that's why I always laugh when a lot of scenes and throughout some of these movies that we watched. I always think it's funny with Bones.
How can we get to the nuclear vessels?
The Wessels,
nuclear
yeah.
Wessels.
Yeah,
the nuclear vessels.
Wessels. And it's funny because then when you see Chekhov talk like that, and then when you see the reboot, when he's like, Victor 111, and he's like,
Victor.
So you have to see a lot of parallels between the characters in the reboot. They did a great job in the 2002 version of it, or 9, whenever it came out. But anyway, this movie, I ranked it. You said it. I ranked this 10.
Yep.
I gave this a 4 out of 10. I thought it was a great message for the whalings aspect, but did not feel too Star Trek for me. It just felt very TV, like a TV movie, if you know what I mean. It felt like a TV show movie.
Yes,
Weird.
and Scott says this is the biggest pothead storyline I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Okay, so that was and then number 9 for Jay, Star Trek Into Darkness. So he don't like the new ones apparently because he has Beyond really low and Into Darkness pretty low. For Harrison, his number 9 was Star Trek Beyond, and for Bin Buster, Star Trek Nemesis. Number 9. All right, we're climbing on up. Number 8.
Right.
Now, this is the one. This might be controversial. I don't know. Apparently, it seems
boy.
so because everyone else already ranked this movie. Our number 8, with also 10 points, is actually Star Trek V: The Final Frontier. Now, I know for a fact. I looked up some of these movies. The Rotten Tomato. This one has the worst like Rotten Tomato score out of all the movies. It has the
Mm.
worst reviews, and apparently it is not. It is disliked. Look, Harrison had it like last. Ben had it last. Jay had it like second to last. Like a lot of people hate this movie. You know what? I don't hate this movie, and I don't. And again, I don't watch the show. I never saw it. There's things in this that I like. So I think some of the story arcs were interesting, and maybe they didn't execute them as well as they could have. But what I think I liked is that they were interesting, right? So to me, it's one thing if you have an interesting story that maybe you didn't fully execute, and it's another thing when you just have boring storylines that I don't care about at all. That's worse to me. So at least this one has some ideas that I enjoyed. I will say I did have a lot more questions than answers by the end of it, which is, that kind of knocked it down a little bit for me as well. But while it was going, like I thought there was some decent action in this one as well. I like when they go to that little planet and there's like full on like a Gatling gun, like seeing like shooting machine guns. That was pretty fun. Cybok as a character, I found him interesting. I don't know if people hate him as a character in the Star Trek fandom. Maybe you know more than me, but I kind of think his goal was interesting, right? Want to find a creator, God essentially. And he went about doing it by stealing this ship and technically he had hostages. He was kind of brainwashing them. That's where some of the stuff was a little unclear to me. Like he just says a couple words to them and all of a sudden they're like
Yeah.
having these memories. I wish that they explained that better, but I thought it was okay. I gave this one a 6 out of 10 as well. Like I don't think it's that horrible. So yeah, that's it for me. 6 out of 10.
All right. So I had this one, the final.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Frontier.
You had this one ranked as number 9.
9. Yeah.
And I had it nine as well. So we had it in the same exact spot.
So I didn't like this movie the first time I watched it. I was like, man, this shit is whack. Watching it now, I enjoyed it for what it was. Now, this movie was directed by William Shatner.
Yes.
He was behind the camera here. Gene Roddenberry also wrote, and William Shatner wrote this too. Now, the plot of this movie is Captain Kirk and his crew must deal with Mr. Spock's long-lost half-brother who hijacks the Enterprise for an obsessive search for God at the center of the galaxy. Now, he has the power of persuasion. That is the power that he has. He could talk to you and you will just follow this guy to the end of the earth. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I don't know. He was kind of a boring character. I don't remember him much in the original Star Trek show. I don't even think they ever had him in the original Star Trek show. I think they just added his ass in the movie. But I think they did. I don't remember as much with the. It's been a while since I've seen the original TV show, but I don't remember him as much. But in terms of this movie, I thought they had certain cool stuff in this film. I love Captain Kirk's banter with Spock. I don't know about you, but that scene in the middle of the conference where all the generals are together and they're like, Spock recommended the Enterprise, and he goes, he did? And he's like, oh yeah, I highly recommended you for this mission. And then when everyone left, the first time you ever got to, not first time, but there's more times, but this is the first time you got to see Captain Kirk give it to Spock. And he's like,
wasn't this 6? That was in part 6.
What? No, that was this one.
This scene. No, that was in part 6 because this one opens with them and he's mountain climbing.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. See, I told you I was going to confuse those two. I always confuse those two. Yeah, sorry. That's my bad. This is the mountain climbing, and he said, row, row, row your boat.
When they were with the rocket boots.
Yes. And he was like, thank God. He goes, the difference between, and he gave him a lesson. And he goes, he taught, the lesson is that he always knew that he'll be saved because he's always around them too. And that's when Spock was like, oh, he goes, I never have fear because when he's with everybody, he's safe. And then he said he always knows he's going to die alone. That was the biggest thing in that movie, which that hit me because I was like, wow, I kind of understand that, like that line that he says, because it's actually true. He's fearless with his crew with him because he knows he could get out of anything. But
he also had Bones and Spock, like the power didn't work on them. Like it kind of
Yes.
worked on Bones, but he like fought it and was like, nope, I'm staying with Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Cyborg thought he was gonna be able to turn him, and then he wasn't able to do it. So it showed how like tight
The
the
friendship.
relationship
Yeah.
was between them.
Yeah. So that's what I liked about this movie. So I agree. I gave this movie a 6 out of 10. Normally I wouldn't, but I would because I kind of like that this movie talks more about the relationship of Spock, Bones, and Kirk, like how like they are a unit together. And you saw it in this movie. So I agree. That did work
It's
very
got that.
well in this
It's
movie.
got some weird stuff like the Ahura
Yeah.
dancing scene. That was weird.
Oh yeah, when they were
The
trying to
Turner.
infiltrate the Mad Max scene.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like her and Scotty, like there's kind of like something going on with them in this movie that's literally not in any of the other movies. I
Yeah.
don't know if that was in the show at all, but in this movie there's kind of like flirty a little bit, but then it's like
Maybe.
yeah, they
Yeah.
never really revisit that was kind of weird, but I could see why people don't like it, but I mean no, I don't really get it. I think there's while there's some wacky stuff like the plot is interesting to me. So I don't know, like, tying in religion and the guy at the end is like he's all the different, this people call me this and some people call me that or whatever. And kind of the disappointment of finding out that it's actually like an evil entity that's been trapped at this thing. Like I
Yeah.
thought it was cool, but what do I know? I don't. Again, I'm not a diehard.
Well, I like that part where Captain Kirk was like, why do you need whatever if you're a god? And he kept questioning and he kept getting zapped.
Like,
And you,
what's your
again,
name? He's like, you should know my name. Like, what do you mean?
yeah, exactly. He's like, if you're a god, you should know whatever. And he gets zapped. And then Spock was like, wait a minute. He might be onto something. And he joins in. And then Bones was like, joined in too. And then that's when I was like, okay,
Yeah.
you can see their unity. He was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. And then the brother was like, wait a minute. You're supposed to be God. Why are you attacking these guys?
Yes.
So, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. So number 8 for Harrison, Star Trek Into Darkness. Number 8 for Ben, Star Trek Beyond. So a couple of the newer ones. All right. Our number 7, with a combined score of 14 points, is Star Trek Insurrection. And funny, this one where again we both had it in the same exact spot. We both had it at number 7, and it landed at number 7 on the
Wow.
overall list. Yes, 14 points. Okay, Star Trek Insurrection. What did I write down for this one? I said this one was pretty good. I feel like the story was pretty solid. There's some action scenes mixed in that I thought were, kind of fun. The villains were interesting to me. And what I like was while you're watching it, they're the bad guys, but you don't really know why they're the bad guys. And I kind of like that. It wasn't just like super obvious, like the Klingons, they hate everybody, whatever, they're trying to kill everybody, or the Romulans or the Borg, or no, these guys were like, they got these weird faces and they're like old, but they're trying to stay young. And then there's this planet where like everyone on it is super young and ages like super slow. And they're like observing them, and they have help from the Federation or whatever, but you don't really know why until like towards the end. So I kind of like that mystery of like, why do these guys, what is their goal ultimately? So I kind of like that about the movie. Also, some of those political things, with that other guy with the white hair, I forget his name, the other guy that's part of
The
the Federation.
Admiral?
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of like that stuff between him and like Picard and the other guy. So I think overall, pretty solid. I know that these other guys they didn't really like it as much. Well, no, I should say Harrison didn't really like it as much. I thought it was good. I gave it a 7 out of 10.
All right. So when it comes to this movie, Insurrection was directed by Jonathan Frakes again. He directed this movie. Gene Roddenberry, again, he wrote, plus with other 2 people. Now, this movie is about when the crew of the Enterprise learn of a Federation conspiracy against the inhabitants of a unique planet. Captain Picard begins an open rebellion. So, again, like Nate said, just piggybacking, the Admiral is pretty much joining forces with the bad guy. He did not know that the bad guy was part of them, so
Right.
he was trying to give her. It's like more of a revenge story, but
Essentially, these are like they're like outcast,
yeah,
and they're trying to take back
what was theirs?
yeah,
Like,
because they don't want to be old and die and shrivel up anymore.
I like this movie. I thought this movie was okay. I prefer this out of the. It's weird because the 4 movies that we see, like, I prefer this over Nemesis. While Nemesis had more action, I thought the action in this one was pretty good. with them running up the mountain and they're shooting the things that was zapping them and they teleporting. I think all that stuff, like Jonathan Frakes did a really good job in this movie. Really great direct. And again, I always tell people Jonathan Frakes knows Star Trek so well because his popular episodes are the best ones in all the television shows. Which is weird, but yeah, he's really good behind the camera, I gotta say. But yeah, he's really good in this movie. Did a great job with the direction. The storyline was pretty cool. Captain Picard was kicking it to a hot chick from that planet, which I don't blame him because she was kind of hot.
This lady,
Where he wanted to get it, but so at the end of the day, I agree. I give this one a 7 out of 10. I thought this was a really good storyline. And I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was pretty good. And it again is centered around Data. Going malfunction.
Inciting incident, Data being like weird. He got a thing on his neck and then he starts singing the show tunes and then he to get him back fixed. But Data always is like right in the thick of everything all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so that's Insurrection. Number said Jay stopped ranking with us. I don't know if he fell asleep. So
he fell asleep.
Number 7 for Harrison was First Contact.
He lost contact.
And number 7 for Bin was actually Nemesis.
Okay.
This was 6.
Okay, right.
He put Into Dark. So Bin put Into Darkness twice. I think he meant one of those should have been First Contact, but that's okay. I don't know which one is which. Okay, our number 6. With a total of, let me go down here. Okay, so this is the one where we have a 3-way tie as far as points.
Okay.
Essentially number 6 and number 5 are like interchangeable. So I just sort of picked one. 4 also has the same amount of points, but there's a reason I put it at 4. So our number 6 here is going to be Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country, which is the 6th Star Trek, the 6th and last for the original cast. You had this ranked as number 4 overall. I had this ranked as number 6 overall. Okay, and so as far as this one, I wrote here, this one's really good. I liked it. Directed by Nicholas Meyer, who of course directed The Wrath of Khan. So they brought him back to direct this one. Definitely a great villain aspect to this movie. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. This is essentially a murder mystery. This movie, right? And I like that. I said there's also some really good action scenes in this. Basically, there's the planet is for is it the Klingons? Like their planet is all jacked up.
Yeah, they were trying to like put together. They're trying to make amends with the Federation, the Klingons and what is it? Klingons and the Federation. They were trying to
because they're like their planet's gonna die.
Yes,
and so they're like, we need peace because otherwise we're just stuck here. We're just gonna die out. So they want peace. And there's this guy who this Klingon guy who's like an ambassador. Who, by the way, I think he was played by the same guy who was in Part 5.
Yep. Which is your boy from Secret of Use.
Ninja Turtles too. That was my boy. The doctor. So anyway, he wants to do peace treaties, and then he gets murdered, and it's like, oh shoot! And then it looks like the Enterprise did it. It looks like the Federation did it. And then my man Christopher Plummer's in this. One of the best. This guy's a great actor. I love Christopher Plummer. So I think there's a lot of things this has going for it. Kim Cattrall's hot. You got Christopher Plummer. You got a murder mystery. They go on trial. I love the trial scene. I thought it was really good because it's like, damn, how are they going to get out of this? Then they go to that weird snow planet. That's kind of the only down for me. Like I feel like they were there too long. I wish they would like sped that part up. But other than that, very intriguing, very good storyline. I give this one a 7.5.
Oh, all right. I guess I'm a little higher than you because I love this movie. I think this is
we're talking about.
This one has my favorite part. Yeah, when he gives Spock the business after he volunteered the Enterprise and Captain Kirk to safely bring this Klingon to Federation space. My man Captain Kirk was so tight. He goes, you know that they killed my son David. You know the hatred I have for Klingons. And he gave it he has and another line he said is like, you know, you have no business, talking for me. Like and And Spock was just like, yeah, but this is, Spock is thinking diplomatically, like, if you could change the world, the history. But Captain Kirk wasn't hearing because it's a hatred because they killed his son.
Yep.
I thought it was pretty good. I love this movie. I think this, honestly, I know it's crazy to say this. Personally, the Wrath of Khan does get a lot of praise, like a lot of praise. But I personally believe this is the second best movie out of the 6 of the original Star Treks. That's just me. I love the murder mystery part. I thought it was really dope. My man Plumber with the one eye patch, he looked dope. He remind me of the one eye patch dude from is it what the hell is it? My movie with Tim Allen, Galaxy Quest, with the one patch in the eye. And he reminds me of my man Plumber in Star Trek Undiscovered Country. So yeah, I loved everything about this. Kim Cattrall, like I don't know, everything was so dope. And I love when my man, he was like, "Doctor, can you help me?" He goes, "Yeah." And they put they changed the torpedo, and James Kirk is like, "Guys, you gotta hurry up." And he goes, "Fire." That was my favorite part. He's like, "Fire." And then you see the torpedo shoot, and it does the big thing, and he's like, "To be or not to be." And it goes, boom. I don't know, man. I love those things.
The birds of prey or whatever.
The birds of prey, yeah, that's the Klingon ship, yeah. My favorite part, bro, I don't know about you. I don't know how you get when you see like if you get into it, like if you start to get amped. I got kind of amped when my man Sulu came with his ship and they were fighting on it once they figured out where the location of the cloaked thing is at, and you have the Enterprise and then Sulu's ship.
I like that part.
That shit was like, I got into it. They were like, pew, 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 pew. They were just tearing that shit up. And then that's when he did the fire. And that's when Sulu was like, all, fire all at, on
and
hands
this one
on
has
deck, whatever.
Really good lines. Like you have the part
Shakespeare.
And then you have the part with Captain Kirk where they're like, he's like, "If we don't help him, they'll die." He's like, "Then let him die." Then let him die. And then I like how Kim Cattrall's character like reads back, like overheard that thing he was talking about. He's like, "You said you're never gonna forgive him. You said you're gonna kill him." And at the end of the day, Spock was right. Spock was like, "Hey, look, just you are the guy to do it." He believed in him. He knew he would be able to get beyond his hatred. For these people. So I think this one's good. I don't know. I don't know why everybody had it. Jay again had it at 11.
I don't know why. I thought this has some good.
Sure.
My favorite parts too. I thought it was really funny is when they're in the Klingon court. And Bones and him have the thing on, and he goes, "I'm trying to save him." He's like, "Didn't you say you had a couple of drinks?" Bones
dying.
Yeah, like Bones really got into it because I don't know which one it was that you see his like father dying, and he's like trying to save his dad, but he couldn't.
That was the one before this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So so like you got to see that foreshadow kick into this one, like why he always have to save people. But I thought, I thought that whole thing was kind of fun because the big.
I don't know his anatomy, man.
Yeah. And then the part where Captain Kirk and him are like talking to each other, like they were. I don't know. I agree with you. I think this is more replayable than a lot of the ones that we saw.
Yes.
In this thing, very replayable. And like I said, if you don't get amped when Sulu and the Enterprise is tearing up the birds of prey, I don't know what to tell you because that is like right there is amazing, like spectacular. And the 4K sounded amazing on my surround sound when it was just both firing. I thought it was cool. But anyway,
and this one we watched the director's cut again. I don't know the difference. I only saw the other one once, but it was still good. All right, Jay woke up. His number 8 was Nemesis. Okay, Harrison's number 6, same as us. Undiscovered Country. So he liked this one pretty good. Ben's number 6 was Generations. So that one well higher than us.
For those of you out there, the plot for this movie was on the eve of retirement, Kurt and McCoy are charged with assassination of the Klingon High Chancellor and imprisoned. The Enterprise crew must help them escape to thaw a conspiracy aimed at the sabotaging of the last best hope for peace.
You get politics, you get a murder mystery, you get this movie's good. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, this felt like a movie, like the storyline. But
I agree.
yep.
And for me, actually, the rest of the ones we're going to talk about, we're in our top 5, baby. We're at the
Okay.
top 5. To me, these 5 feel all like films. Some of these movies honestly don't feel like movies to me. They feel like TV shows.
So we
That-
thawed out the
yes.
whack ones. Gotcha.
Yes, we are to the point where all of these are cinematic, in my opinion.
Okay.
So our number 5 with the same score, 18 total points. You had this ranked as number 6. I had it ranked as number 4. We basically flip flopped, and that's gonna be First Contact is going to be our number 5. Now this was the second of the. Oh look, let me see. Jay catching back up. 8 Nemesis, 7 Search for Spock. Evan is back. He says, I agree. Some just feel like really long TV shows. Yes, absolutely. Okay, First Contact. This was the one that I said I remember when this came out when I was a kid, because it came out like around the same time as Scream that year in 96. And I had to go watch this while my sister went to watch Scream because I wasn't old enough to watch that yet. I was 9. So I saw this when I was a kid, but I went to sleep. I didn't like Star Trek. So now seeing it as an adult, this one's the one with the Borg. To me, I don't, again, not counting the show, as far as these movies are concerned, the best villain is the Borg. They're like space zombies, but they're like robots. But they're essentially zombies. They have a hive mind. There's like one leader, and they kind of all just do.
Yeah,
Bro,
the
their
queen.
ship, their ship is a big cube. It's awesome. Like, what a design. You have all these other sleek, and this thing's just a box floating through space with little lasers on it. I actually had a toy when I was a kid. I don't remember something called Mighty Max. They were like these little tiny guys. I had one that was the cube, and you open it, and there's like little tiny guys in it. So anyway,
Mighty Max.
yes. That being said, this one I said feels this is much better than the other first Next Generation movie. Feels like an actual film rather than a TV episode. The Borg are a fantastic villain. Again, Jerry Goldsmith is back, so the music is actually really good in this movie. And I like Picard. I think in this one, and maybe that's why I like him. Like, he really shined in this movie to me. Data again is an important plot point because he's important in all of these. But I really like Picard, bro. The scene with Worf where he's like called him a coward. That was one of the best scenes ever. And Worf's like, if you were any other man, I will kill you. But he doesn't kill him because he respects him. But then he apologizes later. You know what I mean? And I like that. I think this movie's great. I actually really like it a lot. Similar to the last movie, I think this one is like one you can watch again. It's contained while tying back to something that happened in the show because apparently he got taken over by the Borg.
Yeah.
But I like that you don't have to have seen that. He explains it like, hey, this is what happened and this is why I know what I know. And then I do kind of like the other stuff, like James Cromwell on Earth with trying to build the ship to do the warp, and what's the name? Number One and Reading Rainbow are trying to help him, make sure he can.
Jordy.
Jordy, that's it. Lamar Reading Rainbow. They're making sure he's able to do it. Like, this had a lot going on, and I liked it. I gave it an 8 out of 10.
I agree. So this is the first movie that Jonathan Frakes directs. I believe in the whole thing, and he did a fantastic. You're right. The Borg is one of the best because I think, to me, if I had to rank the villains of Star Trek, will be the Romulans because they are badass with the ships. The Romulans, the Klingons, and the Borg. Those are my top 3. I mean, but if you come across the Borg, you gotta run. They're dope. I agree. They're really good. I wish this movie focused more on the Borg, but we do get that on the TV show, that 2-part TV show where Captain Picard gets caught. I thought it was really good. But I gotta say, I do agree with you. To me, I lacked a little bit though, because I kind of got a little bit tuned out with the guy who invents the warp drive for the humans. I was a little like, some parts were kind of funny when Troy gets drunk and he's getting her drinking and she's like, hey, she's all drunk and he's laughing. Jonathan Frakes is laughing, number one. Again, I think those things are fun, but to me, the movie, it's when the Borg is there and Picard is in his ship. They take over the ship because they're trying to, like, destroy the preventing of the first warp drive to happen. And yeah, I think it was a strong storyline, but to be honest with you, I think out of all of them in this 4-pack movie, I think this one is the best one in terms of story of the 4. Then comes, personally, I will say, then comes Insurrection, then Nemesis, and then Generations. That would be my order of the 4-pack.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I have them ranked that way. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, so that's me. That's how I would do it. But yeah, I thought this was pretty good. I would rank this 7 out of 10 for myself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, catching up. Jay still catching up. 7, Voyage Home. 6, Star Trek 2009. And 5, First Contact. So same as us.
6 is 2009. So the J.J. Abrams first one.
The J.J. Abrams.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he has them all outside of the top 5, basically.
Wow.
Evan says, "What? Nate not old enough to see something? Must not have been with grandma. I think she's You're right, Evan. I was not with my grandma. She would have taken me to see Scream. She didn't care. She would have just said, it's just a movie. Don't worry if they're dying. It's just a movie.
It's fake.
It's fake." All right. Harrison has number 5 as The Search for Spock. And Ben has number 5 as The Motion Picture, the original.
Yeah.
Okay. Our number 4. And
Okay.
here we go. Number 4. The reason this is ranked 4th, even though, again, 18 points, so same amount as the last 2, we both had it in the same exact spot. So because neither of us put it at 6, I just ranked it as the best of the 3. So our number 5 combined is The Wrath of Khan. You had it at 5. I had it at 5. So it ranked in the same exact spot for both of us. So as far as what I wrote down for this, I would say this one, honestly, going back and watching, like, this one's not as visually impressive as the first movie. It's really not. Like, the first movie's boring as can be, but visually it is very good. And I think this one's not that great in that regard. However, and also James Horner, a good score, but nowhere near as good as Jerry Goldsmith's.
Right.
However, other than those two things, this film is better in every single possible way than the first movie. Characters are better. Story's better. We get a revenge plot of this character that's been marooned on this planet and is now wanting, and he just wants revenge on Captain Kirk. He almost doesn't care about anything else or anyone else. He just wants to kill him. I love the scene where he's kind of like they're like, we could kill. He's like, let's let it drag on a little bit. Like, let's leave him over there. Like, he really wants to make him suffer. I like it. Ricardo Montalban as Khan. He's wearing a fake chest. It's kind of funny, but it works. He's very good in the role. I like him. And everyone else is great in this movie. I really like the cast. I like Spock sacrificing himself. I kind of hate that it doesn't stick. To me, I'm the kind of person who, whether I like the franchise or not, when someone dies, I like them to be dead. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it matters more when they really and then they brought him back to life. And so if that never happened, like if this movie was just number 2 and they never made another, incredible ending. Love that. So yeah, I like this movie. I gave it an 8. I think it's very good. I see why people like it a lot.
All right, so I agree with you. So I was a big believer of this movie, right? I was like, oh my God, this movie, Wrath of Khan, a character from the 80s. TV show, right? I was like, wow, this is whatever.
Yeah.
Me and my wife sat down and watched this, and I was like, this movie's not as good that I remembered it. I was just like, I don't remember it. I thought it was more action-packed, like crazy action, and it wasn't. Like, Khan didn't even fight James Kirk in this movie. They were in separate ships most of the time.
All the time, pretty much.
Yeah. After the whole time they're after the Genesis probe or whatever the hell it is. I was a little let down with this, but the only reason why is because I said I gave it to the nostalgia point. I still think, and I know people are going to hate me when I say this, I still think Undiscovered Country is a way better storyline than Wrath of Khan. That's just me, and a better movie in total. Wrath of Khan, sacrificing Spock, I did get emotional. I thought it was pretty cool. With that said, I thought it would be a better part 3, but knowing how part 3 is kind of ass, I was just like, it wasn't a good, like, ending to that storyline, like the bridge there. With this one, it's a cool standalone, but I needed Rafa Khan to be vicious. And he wasn't vicious. Again, he was an old actor. It is what it is.
Right.
But like all of the other people have the same strength as him. Like that's the whole point of it. Like that whole colony is like super soldiers, and they're all warriors, and they didn't get to utilize that much. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. Like he's the General Zod of that whole people, you know, and it kind of sucked for me. But at the end of everything, I kind of liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. Again, a big thing how he died and he wanted to see Kirk explode and he didn't. And I was like, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I did give it a 7 out of 10 too. That one I gave it a 7 out of 10 also. I wasn't too crazy with it like I used to be. Rewatching it now, I was like, way better than part 1. But yeah, way better.
I think out of all of them, this one's the most overrated.
Yes, that's a good way to say it. Yes,
yeah, it
very
does
good
not
way
mean
to
it's
say it.
bad. Like I think it's good. I gave it an 8.
Yeah.
But the way people talk about it, it's like I think it's overrated. I don't know. That's just me. You kind of agree. So, and none of well, I haven't got to Harrison's all yet, but like Ben didn't have it all the way super high. So, you know, I think it's good. It's entertaining, but you would think it's the greatest Star Trek movie. You know what I mean? And maybe it's the most memorable of the time, and maybe that's why. But
it could be that. My only gripe too is that like a lot of people that are not fans, I could totally see it. But then when the people get really hype and they're like, "Oh, this is the best one," and you go, "Okay, so then what episode did like my man Rafa Khan came from?" And they're like, I didn't know he was from an episode." I'm like, so then like to me, you got to see you don't have to be a Star Trek fan to see like how he got to come Tamamo Bay. Like you don't have to see how Kirk dropped his ass off there, at the other planet, and then he had to maroon in the other one because it's about to explode or whatever. Like he didn't know that,
right.
But my thing is just like, I don't know. I agree. It's a very overrated movie. Like I said, I think Part 6 is the best one. Yeah. But that's later down the road, so I kind of understand this is from the 80s. And
I do, though. You're making a fair point in that, if you didn't see the episode with Khan, you're going to get less. Like, he's still a good villain. He explains what Kirk did to him. But the fact that an actual episode exists that has stuff, and there's no flashbacks in these movies, by the way.
Bro, he takes over. Like, let me tell you right now, he takes over the Enterprise. Like, literally takes over the Enterprise in the TV show. And Captain Kirk and his, and Scotty had to figure out how to get this guy. And they do. And then they marooned him. So it was just like, okay, like this dude was vicious, super strong, super intelligent, His people are the same thing. Like I said, they're super soldiers of Star Trek. It's just weird to say.
Without knowing that and just watching this, you would think that he didn't do all that. He left us here.
Yeah, and the thing, and exactly, and that's why when you saw Chekhov and he said, Tamamo Bay, he's like, we gotta get out of here. Like he fucking knew, like, holy shit, this dude is somewhere around here. And when he saw him, he was like, oh, Chekhov. And then he was like, how is Kurt? And then he's like, oh, Kurt is now an admiral. And he goes, oh, really? But the thing is, like, he knows the ship. And that's why he said, hit the ship from these angles to disable the Enterprise. How does he know to do that? It's because he took over the ship in the TV show. My thing is, if you're going to have him come back, they needed to have him be mad vicious, get onto the Enterprise, whether it's teleport or whatever from another ship, and then step up to Kirk, like, remember me? Like,
right.
Like be a very villain. Or come up to the TV screen and be like...
There was potential.
There was
more potential. And okay, so before we get to the top 3, to the chat, and then I'm going to make a point. Jay's number 4... First Contact.
Okay.
Harrison's number 4, Voyage Home. So he liked the whale one. Ben's number 4 is Star Trek Into Darkness. So he did like that. J.J. Abrams one. Evan makes a point here. Says, I feel that early Star Trek movies either spent their money on special effects or the script, but never both. You only get one good. You either get a good story that looks cheap or a great looking movie that's really boring. And there's some truth to that. I agree. And then he said, so top 3 is all JJ. Well, if you're using your powers of deduction, that may be the case. Now, and this is why I'm going to say this, and you might agree with me again. We seem to be in sync on a lot of Star Trek stuff tonight, even though you're
Mm.
the more of a fan.
Yeah.
The reason why I think these three movies are at the top, I could say for me, is because you do not have to have seen any single other thing for these movies to be good. And I think it's a little bit of a not a barrier, but maybe a barrier on some of the other movies. We just talked about Wrath of Khan. I never seen that episode. I have no idea what he did. I'm just supposed to know that he's bad because of XYZ. Whereas with the newer movies, because they are just films and they are not, sure, they're based off of their Star Trek, but they're not specifically tied to a television series. It makes them more accessible, in my opinion. And because of that, maybe more enjoyable. So our number three, and by the way, Alex, me and you had the top three ranked in the same exact order. So
Oh, we did.
we did. Yeah, they're all three. So if you
Okay.
want, we could put that. If you want to put them, I'll just tell everyone what they are, and then we'll talk about each one.
All right. Go ahead.
Both of us had number three as Star Trek Beyond,
All right.
the third of the three movies.
Oh, so then Into Darkness and then number one Star Trek. Okay.
Correct.
All right. So
And
I'll
then,
pull that up.
so we basically had them in the order of release. So number
Gotcha.
three, Star Trek Beyond. Number two for both of us was Star Trek Into Darkness. And number one from both of us is Star Trek 2009. So I'm going to read the other people's rankings and then we'll talk about these three movies and then we'll get out of here. Jay's number three is Insurrection. I'll let him type the rest. Harrison's number three, Star Trek 2009. So he did like that one. Ben's number three was The Voyage Home. And then Harrison's number two is The Wrath of Khan. So he loves that one. And Ben's number two was Star Trek 2009. So he likes that remake from JJ. And then the number one for Harrison was the original, the motion picture. Our number 13 was Harrison's number one. Ben's number one is Insurrection. So you remember he said that they should have stopped there. That's his favorite. Our number seven is his number one. Jay, number two, Star Trek, the motion picture. Wrath of Khan would hit, I could figure out would be his number one. So that being said, let's talk about Star Trek Beyond. We reviewed these movies not that long ago on the Action Movie Guys podcast, and I feel like we felt the same kind of order when we did them. But Star Trek Beyond is a lot of fun. Switches out directors. J.J. Abrams did not direct this one. Justin Lin directed this movie. Did a few Fast and Furious movies before this. And it definitely feels like I said, it has that aspect of like The Voyage Home where you have the sort of the little groups kind of separated doing their own thing. Idris Elba, I think, is a really fun villain in that movie. I like the Spock and Uhura kind of, because they have like a romance in this trilogy, in the movie trilogy. And I kind of like where it's at this point where they're like they broke up and they got issues and kind of stuff like that, and they still have to work together. I just think it's fun, a very entertaining Star Trek movie. It has the best score out of the three new movies. Michael Giacchino, he did the music for all three of them. But the music in Beyond is the best overall because it has all the same themes, and then they have some other new songs that are great. Plus, Sabotage is used in the 2009, but I think it's used way better in Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
When that scene where they come with the ships and there's like an action scene, and then when they all catch on fire and it's just like, like that yell, fantastic. The most, I would say the most action packed, but more action heavy. And I like all the characters in this one. Is really fun. 8 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, but what's crazy about Beyond? Like, again, if you guys haven't heard those episodes, you go to the Action Movie Guys podcast. We have all three of them up. We have not done the original and the Next Generation. We have not done those for the podcast. We only did the new remake. In terms of Beyond, this is what I gotta say about Beyond. I loved it when I went to the theater. A lot of people didn't like it much. I enjoyed it because it felt like a Star Trek TV show come to life. I thought it was fun. I thought it was witty. I thought it had action, not action galore, but I thought it had enough action to keep you in the seat, rooting for the heroes to get back their ship. They got the Franklin, I believe it was the ship that was deserted. A new character called I liked her a lot. What was her name?
Oh, yeah, the
JJ.
white girl?
Yeah, what was her name? J-Lock or?
Oh my gosh, I'll look it up while you go.
Did I call her J-Lock? I don't even think it was
J-Lo?
No, not J-Lo.
no,
It was
J-Lo. Star Trek Beyond. Her name was Isn't it like Jayla
Jade,
or something? No, her
Fade,
name is
Layla,
Jayla. Yeah, Jayla. Jayla.
Jayla. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Jayla. I thought she was a very cool addition to the cast. I thought she was really fun. Thought she was pretty cool. You could tell it was really written by someone with Star Trek, which you can see again. It was written by Simon Pegg. This one, so you got that feel of Star Trek. I don't know. It had everything that I needed here. Jessica Elbra.
Idris Elba.
Ezra. Yeah, I thought he was really good as the villain. Very cool. He was part of the crew. He got, he got that disease or whatever the hell it was that planet screwed him up and everybody. He started to go crazy. He wanted revenge and all this crap. Loved it. I thought it was pretty cool. Very Star Trek. I thought the flying into that planet. Those I don't know. I thought everything was pretty cool. I agree. The sabotage scene is like one of the best, especially when you see it in Adobe Cinema. Oh
Yeah.
my god, that whole part that was pretty cool. He was like, kick it up, and he went.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then this was the last movie of Chekhov, the guy who died.
Oh
So it was pretty
yeah.
sad too, because he died right
Yeah.
after this movie, I believe. So
Anthony Elkin. Yeah.
yeah,
And I think too it had like the hive aspect of kind of like the Borg a little
yeah,
bit. Like it was like a hive mind type thing with those little ships. And you're right. See, the difference is this felt like the TV show, a movie version of the TV show,
yeah,
whereas a lot of the old ones just felt like TV movies.
yes, or try
This
to
felt
be
like a
TV
movie.
movies. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
this felt like a movie, but it also seemed like it tied to the show more,
yeah.
even though it was not part of it. So this one's funny, dude. Bones is so funny in this
Oh,
movie.
he's
Carl Urban, by the way.
yeah,
Okay, well, no, we'll save it for the other one. But
yeah, yeah,
yes, Carl, it's hilarious in this movie. He's
yeah. I
hilarious.
gave this one an 8 out of 10. In
Yeah,
ranking.
so
All
we're the
right, so
same there.
Enter
Evan,
Darkness.
yes, Evan says your list is pretty close to mine. All he would do is swap the whale one, so the Voyage Home would go to number 4 for him. Voyage Home was the only Star Trek movie I had growing up. I just remember the lies that Cumberbatch was not playing Khan, but then he was. Oh, so
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
remember the part of the marketing where he
yeah.
was like, no, it's not Wrath of Khan, it's not Wrath, and then it turns out he's playing Khan. Okay, that being said, this movie's badass too. Star Trek Into Darkness is good, dude. It has really good action. Guess what? Benedict Cumberbatch is great in this movie as Khan. Okay, it's a different take, which is fair because this is a different universe than the original one. So that's fine. And you do get a lot of you get characters that were in like Dr. Marcus. This time it's the daughter. It's Alice Eve. She's young instead of the older blonde lady who Captain Kirk has a kid with. In the original one, there's no kid in this one because they're younger. But you get to see her. Her dad is Peter Weller, RoboCop, and he's bad. He turns out that he's evil. They have that big bro. This one has the best ship action out of the 3. Now Star Trek does as well, and Beyond does, but this one has that big dreadnought ship that's like
Yeah.
enormous. It's like the evil Enterprise, pretty much is how it
Yep.
looks. Awesome. The scene when they go to Earth and it's like that chase scene and they're jumping on the cars. And like this movie, I really enjoy. 8.5 out of a 10 for me. I think there's some things in it that are like, you know me. I won't say convenient, but like story wise, there's a couple of little things here and there. But overall, I really enjoy this movie. I think it's fantastic.
Okay, so it's funny because if in the podcast I said I was never a fan of this movie, Into
right.
Darkness. I hated the damn thing. Then on the rewatch on the podcast, I was like, man, this is a really good movie. Now watching this shit again, I'm like, this is a really damn good movie. This is I don't know why, but J.J. Abrams, because I think he directed this one too,
He did
a great job with the continuing of the storyline. I don't know. I was into this movie. This movie was dope. Christopher Pike loses the damn he loses his command, his ship because of Spock, which he hated him. Again, it goes down. I mean, the history is there, so you get to see them play with it. He loses his ship. He loses Captain Pike, gets shot up by Khan. Revenge story, a great, cool revenge story. They altered Rafa Khan, so they did the same thing, but flip-flopped it because it's an alternate universe. So James T. Kirk is the one that sacrifices himself, and Spock is more angry. Like I said before, Khan is more of a super soldier, and guess what? In this movie, he's a super soldier. So you had a lot of things going for you in this movie, and I loved it. I thought it was good. My only nitpick, and I said this on the podcast, and I will iterate it again because
The
you've been
super
watching
blood?
it, pissed me off. J.J. Abrams and this creating fucking healthy bloods and the force
Yeah.
healing and the freaking, oh
That's
my
what I
God.
didn't like about it too.
Yes, I'm like, dude, the suspense of Star Trek is there's no way for you to live. And this dude's blood can regenerate. And I was like, well, now that you introduced it in the movie, now you have healing blood. So now you know if anything happens down the line in the movie universe, you could go, why don't you just use calm blood to heal?
Right. Bring
So
that to life.
it's that's the only nitpick. I just thought the movie was fantastic from beginning to end. I thought the ending was kind of stupid. But other than that, I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, I gave this movie also an 8 out of 10.
And this is the one where they go to that Klingon. The Klingons are in this one.
The
The
Klingons
J.J.
world. Yeah,
version. Which I
yeah.
wish they showed more of them in these 3 movies. They're barely in it.
Yeah.
But in a way, I respect that they didn't just, they didn't use the Borg, they didn't use the Klingons.
Because they're safe villains.
Right.
Like if you
Yeah.
put a Klingon, you already know they're assed out when you see a Birds of Prey. But that's the cool thing about and that's the one thing I wish the movies did better. It's like them coming across like, oh my God, there's a Birds of Prey on the map. Like you see a Birds of Prey and they get shit out of scared. Because the only part that you do see that is when they're doing the training. When you see the Birds of Prey thing and they're like all shitting, like they're all like, oh my God, there's 3 Birds of Prey. What do you do? Like they all train for that because that's how good the Klingons are. I wish in the movie they did that more. Like going, oh my God, there's a Birds of Prey somewhere around here. Like we gotta relax. You don't want to have we can't fight them because they got a better ship or whatever. But at the end of the day, I thought Into Darkness was a really good movie.
Oh, what'd you score it?
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay, number 1, both of us, Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember saying this on the podcast. This is the best Star Trek movie. I don't care what anyone says. Now, is it the best Star Trek movie if you're a diehard Trek fan? I mean, you ranked it number 1, but will it be for everyone? No. But as a movie watcher, as someone who does not watch the TV shows, just as a cinematic piece of Star Trekness, it's the best movie in my opinion. J.J. Abrams, I think, did a great job with this movie. First of all, this is where I wanted to save it for. The cast in this movie's all perfect. All perfect. Chris Pine is a great younger version of James Kirk. I think he does. I think he has the personality to pull it off. You know what I mean? And I do like the good thing with this movie, unlike literally any of the other movies, is you get to meet all these characters from the jump, so you get to grow with them as the movies grow. You do not get that with the other movies because they're all just like cappers to TV seasons. You know what I mean? Like for the motion picture, all the growth and development happened on the show. Now you're just watching them be old. Here, you meet Kirk when he's young. You meet Spock when he's a kid. You meet Uhura just coming into the academy when they're at the bar at that one part. Sulu and Chekhov, you meet them as they go on the ship, and you get to do that, and you don't get that with the other movies. So in my opinion, that's a win. I think Zachary Quinto is amazing as Spock as well. Honestly, I think he's a great Spock. Zoe Saldana is great, but I think Chekhov, Anton Yelkin, he does, and Carl Urban. They're my 2. As far as if you watch the old ones, they're the most they're not doing impressions, but they feel like those characters a lot.
Yeah, they're more identical to the TV show.
Yes. Because John Cho's great as Sulu, but he's nothing like Sulu from the other one. But he's still good. You know what I mean? But yeah, Carl Urban, Bones, hilarious. He's funny in all 3, but and his relationship they got that right? Like him, Spock, and Kirk being like the 3 kind of main best friends. Uhura gets more to do in this movie than in any of the other movies, any of them. And even Chekhov and Sulu, and Scotty. I feel like Simon Pegg is great as Scotty as well. I like him. But all that to say, and I'll let you go. The plot of this movie is genius to me. To have old Spock from the actual old Spock be involved, that way they just say, hey, look, everything that happened before, it happened, but this is a whole different everything now from now on is different. And I think that was a genius use of, it's not really it's kind of time travel, but I think it was a great use. And Eric Bana is awesome as that Romulan bad guy.
Oh
I really like
yeah,
him in this movie. So
yeah.
I gave this one a 9 out of a 10. It's not a perfect film. Well, for me, 10 out of 10s are like, just immaculate, life changing. This is not that, but it's is really darn good. So I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yes. All right. So, well, it's funny because, time travel and timeline alternates is a very hard storyline to put on screen because it could go two ways. It could go really bad and then it could go really good.
Right.
They got lucky and they went very good. I agree. For a TV show to reboot for a newer generation, they needed to redo the timeline. And they had to do an alternate timeline. Which, it's weird because for someone like me that watched the original Star Trek, I kind of know some of the stuff that happens with Captain Kirk. Like his dad was there when he graduated because he talked about it. His brother, Sammy Kirk, is part of Star Trek before he went on. They never mentioned him in any of these new movies.
I don't
So
think he got a brother because remember his dad died before he was.
so there you go. So again, there was certain aspects that changed, which I'm like, it went for the good and then the bad. I liked it. This movie did very well, and I think this is the reason for a Star Trek fan like myself, the reason why I allowed Into Darkness and Beyond and this Star Trek as my number 1, 2, and 3 is because there's stuff that I enjoy, and that is called continuing. I love storylines that continue. When I go to a movie theater and I see a movie, if it's like a show or whatever, and the next movie comes out, how does it continue from the first? Or is this a continuation of whatever? This Star Trek, all three of them continue. Wow, you could put them on whenever the hell you want in separate different orders. Like I could put on Beyond and be like, oh yeah, this is a cool movie, whatever. I could put on Into Darkness and be like, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. But if I want the full landscape of watching the entire storyline, I go 1, 2, and 3. I go Star Trek, Into Darkness, and Beyond. That is a perfect writing. Regardless of how you hate Beyond, to end the movie the way Beyond did was genius because it could go into 4. Mm-hmm. It was an open ending. It was just a straight up like you could do whatever you want after 3. And I thought it was genius. And then knowing that Chekhov died just like kind of sucks because they all toasted and were happy, kind of sad moment. But at the end, I think this is the reason why I thought it was really good and why this is the best series out of all of them is because, yeah, you do reboot, but you said it the best. You grew with them. Now, I did grow with The Next Generation. I did grow with the original Star Trek because I watched those. But for the newer generations in Star Trek, Into Darkness, and Beyond, you grew with them from the beginning to the end. Even the Starship Enterprise, you saw it getting built in the first one. Right. They lose it and get destroyed in part 2. Then they get a brand new one by the third one, and they still destroy it in the third movie.
Change.
Nothing changes in that front. But at the end of the day, like everything is there for you with the newer versions, where the other ones is just like you said it the best. You're following the older versions of these characters. But the best thing about watching all of these together is they all had the same traits with all the characters. Like you got the banter between Bones and Spock and them going at each other. You got it through all the movies. You got Captain Kirk's love for the entire ship. You got it in all the movies. Ahura, her listening skills in all the movies. Scotty, my man the engineer of the year, my man knows this shit from beginning to end. And he's like, I have this ship purring like a cat, Captain, by the end of whatever. And I thought that was pretty cool. And at the end of everything, I think this is the best one. And I give it a 10 out of a 10. Now, I think it's a perfect Star Trek movie. I don't know if we're ever going to get a new one. I doubt it.
I don't think so.
Section 31 was a piece of shit. In terms of Paramount, I said it before, I did not like that movie. Section 31 was horrible. But if they do a Strange New Worlds movie with that cast, Rebecca Romijn, I forgot who plays Captain Pike. He's amazing.
Isn't it Anson Mount or something?
Yeah,
like that?
Anson Mount. Yeah, and then my man who plays Spock, which I think the guy who plays him in the movie is pretty good, but I think the one in the TV show is way better as Spock. He's really dead on with him. But anyway, if you do it with that cast in the movie, I'll be golden. I'll be like, you know what? Let's do it. But yeah, I think that I agree with you. J.J. Abrams, I give it a 10 out of 10. I could put that movie on anytime and I'm into it, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm really into it.
I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. And like I said, it has that advantage that the other ones don't of allowing a new audience to come in who's never seen Star Trek
Yeah.
and meet characters and fall in love with it. And maybe it'll make them want to go back and watch, like having Leonard Nimoy in this.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, so old Spock. Well, let me go back and watch his stuff. So I do think it was pretty brilliant in that way.
And then even besides, I'm sorry. And then besides that, you had old Spock there, and I love that they didn't force him to tell the old versions of what they did to beat people.
Right.
Like, I love that. Like, he was like, how did you beat it? He was like, well, I'm not going to tell you what happened to you.
You gotta learn it.
Yeah, you got to do it yourself. It's your destiny. This is your timeline. I'm not going to tell you what happened. But, I mean, he did break rules. But at the end of the day, like, I love that the interaction between the two old people and how was, James Kirk was like, he's your best friend. It's funny because he's like talking to him, telling him that they're best friends. But I thought that was pretty funny.
Also, for a 16-year-old movie, it still looks amazing.
Oh, it looks gorgeous. And that scene with the Enterprise right there, and then you saw the Romulan ship right behind it, like in front, like mad big. I was like, oh, yeah. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah.
Evan says, do you remember that JJ made Trek into a Star Wars movie debate? No.
Yes.
I don't remember that. But
remember because he filmed Force Awakens, and then people were like, which is the best of the two? And then they started arguing all over the place. And I'm going to tell you right now, Star Trek is way better than Star Wars.
I agree.
Hands down, way better. And I think, and this is my only thing, and people could take it as whatever they want. My belief is because of Disney interfering with the movie is the reason why Star Wars did not, in my eyes, did not beat Star Trek in the movie universe. Because I think if J.J. Abrams did it his way, I think the older legacy characters would be the main focal in 7, 8, and 9.
Just look at how he used Spock in this movie.
Exactly.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
I would easily Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness are better than The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker. Those are the two he directed for each. It's not even a comparison to me. And I like Star Wars. Someone said earlier about Star Wars, I think it was Harrison. He said Star Trek has more good movies. I mean, they have more movies. But I would say, and I'm not going to make it into the debate, just film-wise, I just think the highs of Star Wars are slightly higher than the highs of Star Trek as a film franchise. But I'm not saying that as a franchise as a whole. I'm not going to get involved because, again, I don't watch the show.
Well, it's more lore with Star Wars because of the rich history of characters and their backstories, and they go through New Republic, Old Republic. I mean, that shit goes all the way down in history. Whereas Star Trek, if you're gonna look at the movie universe, like the movie universe, I could see the debate where Star Trek does have better movies than Star Wars. Like if you put the Star Wars 1, 2 through 3 versus whatever, the OG Star Wars. There's good ones. You could pick out of the 6, those 3 best versus their 3 best. I don't know. I mean,
I would say like the original Star Wars trilogy is better than all of the Star Trek movies. In my opinion, like those
debate.
3 movies, it depends on who you're talking to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but again, I'm not a big fan of either one. So
no.
As a third party, I think the best Star Wars movies are better than the best Star Trek movies. But Star Trek, I mean, some of these really suck. I don't like them. They're really boring.
But like what I'm saying is like like Undiscovered Country, number 6 is the best one out of the 6, right? You have that one, Wrath Khan, right? That's the number 2. That's the big one there, right? You got in the Next Generation, you got First Contact, you got Insurrection. We said those are the best ones there. And then on the reboot, all 3 was the best ones. Now, if we take those that we just named and put them up against episode 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then the newest ones. So let's do it this way. The newest trilogies of Star Wars, Star Trek blows them all out the water. 1, 2, and 3. Blows the entire new versions, right? 7, 8, and 9.
I agree that the J.J. Abrams Star Treks, the 3, are better than the 3 new Star Wars. Absolutely.
All right. So that's a wash. 4, 5, and 6. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, which everyone says is the best one in the entire first 6 movies, right?
I agree. I do. Yep.
So it's a very big
those
debate.
3
right?
are better than any 3 Star Trek movies.
Well,
For me.
I guess
there's no way 3 of these are better than those 3. Now, if you get into the prequels versus some of these, sure. And then Rogue One is great because this has, these don't really have side movies.
No, it doesn't. There's no side movies with those.
But,
so
I mean, it's a fun discussion. I think it just depends on your taste. That is more space opera. This is more adventure, right? Like space adventure,
sci-fi adventure.
Yeah.
Realism, whatever you want to call it.
But I do love the new ones the best. They're the best. I mean, no shade on any of these, but however, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see myself revisiting any of these movies besides the new ones very often. You know what I mean? Like, I like First Contact a lot. I like Undiscovered Country quite a bit. I like Insurrection. But I don't know, like, I'd ever just be like, I want to watch that today. You know what I mean? The 3 new ones, absolutely, because I think they're just the most entertaining. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I think this was a lot of fun. It was a lot, though. And, that's the other thing. Like, when you're watching these all back to back to back, it's not the easiest.
No, it's daunting. It's really hard
to watch through.
Yeah,
there's some real slow times. You're like, oh my God, I want this movie to be over now.
Yeah, I agree.
So, this was fun, though. And we haven't done Star Trek yet. I mean, Star Wars. And we're going to do Star Wars franchise ranking next year. But, it's going to be interesting to see who comes out for what. Let's see. Evan says Star Wars over Trek any day. My issue with Trek is it's too clean, and I don't see myself relating to the Trek characters. There you go. So, Jay
so
and
wait,
Evan
so he relates himself as a Star Wars character? I guess that's what he's saying?
Evan is Han Solo.
I mean, I understand what he's saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like exploration stuff. Like, I don't see, like, I understand the battle like people want to throw between Star Trek and Star Wars. Like, to me,
They're
never
not
go.
similar.
Well, first of all, they're never similar.
Not even in the same like they're not even playing the same sport.
No, I mean Star Wars is more popular than Star Trek in terms of pop culture and collectibles and all this crap. Yeah, Star Trek does have collectibles, but it's not as popular as lightsabers and Jedi robes and Sith robes and Sith eyes and Yoda, the dolls, the puppeteering.
Yeah.
Star Trek is known for ships, exploring different aliens, different. Like, to me, I don't go into that whole thing because there's so much history that you got to know for one to battle the other. Like, I don't know.
I'll be honest. The only thing they have in common is star in the title.
Yeah, and ships.
Yeah, I mean, Star Trek, Star Wars is a space opera. Star Trek is essentially a show about people on a boat exploring. Like, think about it if it was like an old ship, like you're making a Marco Polo show or something, and he's like, that's what it is.
Exploration. That's all it is.
They're not similar.
I like it because I relate. I'm not saying relate to characters. For me, I don't look at shows and be like, oh, I relate to this. I just like if they have great personalities, if the crew works well, I feel invested, engaged? Yeah. Then I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like, I mean, I think Captain Picard has a great crew, but his 7 shows were all more messages, right? Like a lot of good stuff to do and not bad, right? And then you got the Borgs or whatever. Then you got the original Star Trek, more explorations. I don't know. I just feel like
also Evan said he's R2D2, not
he's R2.
He's R2. I will say this much, and I'll end that.
Yeah, we can end it. Yeah.
To me, Star Wars is a movie franchise, and Star Trek is a TV franchise.
Star Wars is popcorn film.
Yes, one of the Star Wars it started as a movie, and it's known for movies, and then it went back and made bad shows, whereas Star Trek had amazing shows and then made movies off of it. So, like, again, to me, one's playing baseball, one's playing basketball. Some people like one sport more than the other. They're both sports, but they're not the same game. So
you're right. I mean, you're absolutely right, because their shows are still way better than the new ones.
Oh my God,
way
the Star
better.
Wars shows stink. Yeah, they're bad. So, whatever. But either way, this was a very good time. I'm glad we don't have another 13 movie franchise for the rest of the year.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Because I would be able to do it, but I don't want to.
This is a good discussion that I would like to bank on when we do another
Yeah,
not a franchise ranking, but to do on a separate when we do another like
yeah, a
Sunday
live.
show.
Yeah,
Bring on some people and have a discussion, not an all out arguing about whatever, just a discussion on why Star Trek and Star Wars amongst why the debate, why this and that. Like it'll
yeah.
be a fun discussion to sit down and talk.
And we
But
got
yeah,
some
I do
people
agree.
who, we got some people who like each one that I think would make
Yeah.
for a good conversation.
Yes, like a conversation piece. All right. The next series. Let me just blow us back up. Ooh.
Great job on the fly with the.
Oh my
With the
god, let me just tell you something. It actually
button.
worked. But yes. Yeah, it actually worked. Okay, with that said, for next month, our show is, I mean, that's up to Nate. Nate is the one who does the next show.
Our next franchise ranking is a 3-movie franchise. Shout out to
Yes.
me for picking something nice and short. We will be doing, and this is an iconic franchise, one of the most popular in the history of film, I think.
Oh,
We're going to be
wow.
going back to the 80s and doing a little Back to the Future. So we're going to be doing Back to the Future 1, 2, 3. Obviously, ranking these, there's only 3, but that's
Yeah.
okay because we get to review these movies that me and you've never reviewed these movies on anywhere. It's
Yeah.
not an action movie, so it's not on the podcast. So we're going to be doing that. We don't have a guest. I might ask some people if they're interested. Maybe we could get like 2 people. That way they might vary. And it's only 3 movies.
Yeah.
But we'll see. But Back to the Future will be the next franchise ranking in June.
Yeah, so I have not seen those movies in ages.
I haven't
mean,
watched
like,
the
again,
4Ks yet. None of them.
yeah, I haven't seen part 2 and 3 in the 4K. I have the 4K set. I only watched the first one, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now I get to have an excuse to watch 2 and 3.
Exactly.
So, yeah, with that said, yeah. So, okay, so Back to the Future is next month. Easy watch for you guys. If you guys want to rewatch Back to the Future and then join us, do you know the date?
I can know the date. So this will be we're gonna target this one for June the 29th. Sunday, June 29th.
June 29th. Okay.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
got literally 5 weeks to watch 3 movies for that show.
Yes.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
watch
so-
those all in one day. That's a piece of cake.
Yeah, we could do that. All right, so there you have it. June 29th, Back to the Future franchise ranking, live, full discussions, box office numbers, maybe some fun facts on some Back to the Future stuff. We'll have fun with that. And maybe some special guests or cameos from people talking. So again, yeah, that's pretty fun. All right, Nate, anything coming out this week? You want to talk about?
We got no. I mean, as far as movies go, I know next week, what's Karate Kid Legends comes out this coming Friday, so probably gonna see that. And other than that, what do we got? Oh, we're wrapping up on the podcast. Well, the podcasts are a little behind, but me and you
It's a
will be
little-
watching some
yeah.
RoboCop remake and some Bloodshot, which I haven't watched that since the theater. So
Yeah, so I did
yeah, going good.
442 was U571. What was that? What's the next one after that one? Is it the RoboCop? Next one is RoboCop.
That's when we start RoboCop.
Yes,
Yeah.
so RoboCop will be the next episode coming out. I'm a little behind because I'm doing the episodes, and the kids were off from school, which they're off Monday too. So I'll catch up with everything. But yes, RoboCop will be the next episode on the podcast release. 443 would be RoboCop from 1987, which is the director's cut version that me and Nate is going to be breaking down. And on the 4K review front, I don't think I'm picking up anything new this week, but I have a great treat for you guys. I am doing a fistful of dollars, the UK Dolby Vision version versus the Kino Lorber that came out. So it's HDR10
4K versus 4K?
Yes, so 4K
Ooh.
versus 4K, HDR10 versus the new Dolby Vision of that movie. That's coming out first, and then the second movie, I forgot, is going to be another movie coming down the line. I don't know what the second one is. I'm trying to see if there's a new movie that's coming out so I can buy it.
And by the way,
but
if Arrow is doing a 4K for Teenage Mutant Ninja
they are.
Turtles,
I think I just saw it on Twitter.
I will be doing a 4K. I will not, but you know what? I will be buying the heck out of that movie. I'll tell you right now. Listen. I've settled it. Like, okay, if it's a 3-pack, then fine, it's a 3-pack. That's fine. If they do them
I don't think
individually,
it
I'm
is. From what
oh,
I
if they're
saw.
doing them
Yeah.
individually, well, first of all, if they're doing all 3, I'm only buying 1 and 2. If they're
Yeah.
doing a 3-pack, I'll get the 3-pack. But if it's just the first one, I'll be so happy. If it's just the first movie, I really won't care because that's the best one.
I'll
So,
tell you this. Knight Rider's coming out in 4K.
I saw that, like a big box set.
I'm gonna get it. I'm a sucker for Knight Rider.
Yeah. So a lot of cool stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Pretty soon. I just pre-ordered some movies for the first time in a while, like for like in the future months. So this week I think you're right. There's not really much.
No, I don't think it's much.
Kingdom of Heaven, but I
Yeah.
feel like it's like Tombstone. I think people are not gonna get it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that one. I'm not Kingdom. I'm doing the Western one, and then I might do the Tombstone Blu-ray versus the 4K, the actual Blu-ray versus 4K. I don't know which one I'm gonna do. Or Dirty Harry, because I have those 2 coming out. But anyway, with that said, it's gonna be 4K reviews coming out this week. I know June 10th. Get ready, because when the Sean Connery collection comes out, I am reviewing every single 007 movie of the Sean Connery collection. So each week is gonna be a movie.
Oh, I do want to say, just to promote, and hopefully you guys come and watch. I'm on some streams this week. And Alex, I think we're going to give Harrison a little shout out as well. So tomorrow night, I will be over on Hard Copy Blues. That's his channel here on YouTube. Vin. He's not been on our show yet, but he's doing a war movie stream for Memorial Day. So it's going to be like a bracket style thing. There's going to be like 10 people on it. He asked me if I would do it. I said, sure. So I'll be there tomorrow night. And then Wednesday night, I will be with over on Huck Pop Culture Cafe, his channel, the Mission Impossible review with Mike and Steve. But what I want to say is later this month, I'm very excited for this. So me and Harrison on his channel, we did the Frank Capra box set collection. Evan was on for 1 episode. Me and Harrison did the other ones. Me and Alex are going to be doing the House of Hitchcock.
Oh,
reviews.
That's right, the Hitchcock movies.
That starts in June, and that's going to be fun.
Do we know the date?
Yes, it is June. I do know the date. The first one is it's at the end of the month. So it's not like that far off, I think, from our live stream, but it's like a Friday night. It's going to be House of Hitchcock. It will be June 27th, Friday night, June 27th. Me, Alex, Harrison, and KB from KB Loves Movies. We are going to be breaking down that box set 5 movies at a time. So you watch the 5 movies, we review them. I can't wait to hear Alex, his take on. We haven't talked Hitchcock together. I love those movies. So, and you have the box set, so you're going to be able to do it no problem. But we will be going on Harrison. We're invading his channel. So we'll be going over there, teaming up later in June. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And a shout out to Harrison and Ben for winning the Star Trek battle versus the Star Wars.
Star Wars guys over on Mega Mics. And me and you are going to be on some of those. We'll wait.
Oh, but I can't announce it. I can't announce it. But I am on one of them that I will say it right now. And you guys could copy this and put it up on your Twitter, because I'm just going to say it right now and people could get offended. I'm going to annihilate whoever the 3 people are. I'm just going to say it right now. Nate knows what it is, but I'm going to destroy the other team.
And he's going to just do it just by sheer amount of things he has. And that's all I'll say. Yeah, that's going to be fun. I volunteered to be on a couple, so we're going to be doing some stuff. We're be on some other channels, and you guys will catch us here, and hopefully we'll get some guests for some of these. Right, I got to ask some people.
Yeah. All right. Well, other than that's pretty much it. Guys, have a great Memorial weekend. Nate, be safe out there too. Again, the Mets beat the Dodgers. I'm happy with that, 3-1.
The Knicks are winning. I got to get off this stream so I can watch the end of
there
this
you
game,
go.
So.
Anyway, guys, be awesome to each other and geek out.